Hey, welcome to Sense episode 89. It's March 26, 2017. This is the Live Undoctored News Show we do here at Dollar Reviews, where we cover all the tech, TV, movies, streaming, video games, and most importantly, VR news that's happened over the past week. We do this for the fun of it, but you could pay us, and we'll talk about that later. I'm Brian Gillis. You can follow me on Twitter at Brian Gillis. It's harder than it sounds. BryonGillis. More importantly, on Twitter, for the show, Dollar Views, D-O-R. You should be able to spell that. I'm not going to do it for you. And I'm not alone. I'm here with Stephen Mominex.
Sup?
That's a new one.
That is a new one, yeah.
So I got a cough drop in my mouth. You might be able to tell for a little bit. You probably can't because you don't listen every week. But in case you do, here's some things that happened this week for me. I don't know about you, Steve. I went to my first real wedding, which was fun. That was on Wednesday. I got really drunk.
I was drunk at my first real wedding too, so yeah,
Well,
if that's what you're building up to. No, but
me
I wasn't
too.
at weddings of any
No,
kind
This
recently.
was I drink like once a week, once every couple of weeks, but I don't drink like this. I can't remember the last time I drank
Dude,
like
when
this.
it's open bar, like if that's what you had, yeah, then
This was intense though. I'm talking. I had white rum, dark rum, vodka, tequila, whiskey. I had scotch. I had beer. I had
again,
mixed drinks.
open
I had
bar.
straight
You don't
drinks.
stop. There's no limitations.
No, yeah, I didn't. I didn't stop. I mean, it was in good merits. You know, I was celebrating. There was food. Like there was dancing. I took a good amount of pictures, some videos. It was a good time. I mean, it was a backyard wedding, but when the backyard is this big, it's kind of like a misnomer. But yeah, Mazel Tov to Ricky and Tomer. They've been married for about a week now. Very cool. Hope to see them again before they go on and live their life and have kids or whatever. More importantly, it was like the same day. I don't know if I told you about this last week, but we found a lizard in my store.
No,
And so, yeah, it was last Sunday. We found this lizard, and I was like, hey, like, me and my coworker tried to get him out. Like, it's kind of like, not exactly a safety hazard, but like, hey, someone could have got scared, or he could have got lost, or I don't know. So I tried to, like, kick him out into the real world, and that didn't exactly happen. Instead, he kind of, like, got stuck in one of our shutters. And I was like, hey, at least he's not on the floor. That's cool. I locked up. I came to work like a couple days later. I was telling my coworkers about it. I'm like, hey, did you guys hear about the lizard? Like, what the fuck are you talking about, what lizard? I'm like, you didn't hear about that? And I was like, okay. So I told him, I showed him some pictures. We're like laughing about it. So I went to work on Thursday, and the first thing I do when I show up, I'm like, yo, where's that lizard at? Is he here? And I look around and I find him. I'm like, cool. My boss comes back off his lunch. I'm like, hey, I found the lizard. He's up there. He's like, well, yeah, do something about it. I was like, yeah, I tried. He's not. He didn't want to come out, so I'm gonna pour some water for him. Maybe I can like kind of fish him out, put him out in the real world. He doesn't understand what I was going for. Instead, he's like, I got a job to do. He pulls this lizard out of where he was hiding, and in the process, like ripped his tail off, which is pretty sad because
dude.
it was already at least a second tail. You could tell based on the color, like it was discolored. I kept the tail, and I kept the lizard. He's living in my room. He's got a little house on my nightstand. He's in a box. It's not anything fancy. It's not a cage. There's no heat lamp or wood logs or shit. I don't know what
Feed
kind of
him with
lizard he
everything?
is. Oh yeah, he's just on my nightstand. It's not even closed up. Like he could run away if he wants. He hasn't. Yesterday I accidentally knocked the box over, not once but twice. And on the second time, I just like put the box near him, and he climbed in on his own accord. So he's not exactly eating the lettuce or like the blueberries or strawberries I've given him. I've named him Bit. Um, but hey, I got a little companion. He sleeps next to me. Like, pretty happy.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah, but I mean, the plan right now is to just rehabilitate him, let him grow his tail back, and then let him out in the wild. But then I think about it, I'm like eagle's probably gonna like come down and scoop him up, or a cat's gonna eat him.
Yeah, watch out for the cat in your place, man.
No, that's not gonna happen. But I just I'll let him live with me for a little bit. If he decides he wants to stay with me, hey, I don't got a problem with that. They supposedly will live forever, and it's like a cool little low maintenance pet. What about you? Anything interesting happen?
Jeez, a normal week, man. Like I've gone out a few times. I've seen a few movies. Well, I went out and saw The Fly. I talked about that already though, which you can hear that on Wednesday.
Yeah, you can.
And
Well,
it was a fun night.
if you're not listening on Wednesday, I think it's gonna be there's two Fly episodes. We're doing one for the original with Vincent Price. We're talking about the remake that David Cronenberg did, the 86 one, not the 58 one. So I think that's episode 79, 78.
80. I
Is it
think
80?
even number one's no. I think 81's going to be the new one. We're in the 80s now, I think.
It's a big number. You'll find
Yeah.
it. It's one of the Flies. Listen to both of them actually. The only other thing I did, and this is fly related, I kind of hinted on that show in between. The real reason I bought the Blu-ray on Amazon, not just because I have the credit card and whatever 2J shipping. I've been like looking at knives online for a while. I've kind of grown off of buying Legos, even though I bought $12 worth of Legos yesterday. I spent like an hour, whatever. That's a different story. So yeah, I bought my first knife. I own several knives, but they've either been gifted to me, or I found them, or whatever. And the one that I was carrying on a daily basis, my dad gave me. I started thinking about it. I was like, I like this knife. It's cool. People like it. But if I lost it, which is something that happens when you carry things in your pocket, I'm going to be real pissed. Not because I lost the knife, because my dad gave it to me. So I went out and bought my own knife. It's a Kershaw knife, so it's made in China. If you want the specifics, it's the Kershaw Shield, which is like made by Hinderer. It's pretty cool. I haven't really broken it in yet. Frame lock. Way fancier than what I was using. I can like flip this open and nothing. That's actually the sound of it going fully open. It's not a switchblade, but pretty much. It's Kershaw's patented speed safe technique. So it opens fast enough that it's legal in every state, including California, except it's not a button operated. But pretty cool. And it's super fucking sharp, and it's kind of scary to look at.
Careful, man.
Yeah, it's a Tonto blade. I didn't bleed, but like I cut my thumb with it earlier. Anyway, that's just us talking shit. We're going to talk about industry in just a second. And we, like I said, do this for free. We're doing it unedited. If they're hearing mistakes, that's off the cuff. But it would be really cool if you did pay us. You can advertise. You can do all kinds of different things. If you go to patreon.com/dollar views, you can actually see our price points. It starts at $1, because it's dollar views. And it goes up to anything you want to pay. There's stuff like, hey, we'll read your script. We'll pimp you out on air. You can come on the show and talk to us. You want us to review your own movie. Literally, all kinds of different possibilities. Take a look if you'd like. And because you might be interested in where we are to see if you might want to pay that money, it's basically everywhere on the internet. So we have a Facebook, a Twitter, Instagram, WordPress, Tumblr. All of those are dollar reviews. Also, you can listen to our content on Google Play Music, iTunes, Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, SoundCloud. YouTube's the only one that's weird. That one's youtube.com/dollar review. No dollars on there. But hey, it's hard enough to get a URL. I was pretty surprised I got that in the first place. Anyway, here's the teasers. Here's like the little things that aren't exactly the headlines. Those happen later in the show. This is just to whet our appetite, and it's going to start off kind of sad. So this past week, we lost Chuck Barris, whose name might not be familiar for people in our age range, and we're mid-20-somethings if you're curious. But he died a little bit less than a week after a different CB, Chuck Berry, who I forgot to talk about last week because, to be completely honest, outside Back to the Future, I have like no interest in who he is.
Either. Like,
exactly. Like I know his importance
his name,
in rock and roll history. Like he helped bring it from like a black rural thing into the white spectrum. He has like a lot of hits besides Johnny B. Good, including Maybelline, which I actually heard in one of my college classes. Really catchy tune. That's pretty sad. Chuck Barris, though, was a game show host, most notably of the Gong Show fame, and even more importantly, a rumored CIA agent. And this story is so interesting, like kind of urban legend, that George Clooney actually directed it as Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. If you haven't seen that, you should owe it to him and his life. It's a fun film. It stars, who is it?
Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, from Moon. Interesting movie. Like, one of the things I'll never forget about that film, Strawberry Dick Harris. It happens in like the first 5 minutes. It's just like a funny little piece of dialogue. It's like,
I'm not gonna lie. I know I saw that movie a couple years ago, but I do not remember it at all.
It's not very interesting. It's like
I'm
by
pretty sure
day,
I wrote something on Letterboxd about it, but I cannot remember a thing about that movie for the life of me.
By day, he was doing the Gong Show and the Newlywed Game and a couple other game shows. By night, he was supposedly a CIA agent. And it's like an interesting little like Hollywood story type of thing.
Charlie Kaufman wrote that too.
Did he?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's an interesting movie because I want to say it's George Clooney's first directed feature, and then shortly after that he did Good Night and Good Luck, and then Leatherheads. Let's not talk about that one. I'd check it out. But what's interesting here, they just died. This week we had the joint public memorial for Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher, and last year was like the year of death between like David Bowie and fucking Spock, and I can't even remember everyone because there were so many. Gary Shanley, Anton Yelchin, like Gary Shanley. It was just his 1 year death anniversary this past week actually. And I read somewhere on the internet, it's like more and more people, famous people in particular, are going to keep dying, and the reason is like the people of that age, let's say like 80 years. That is when the media as we know it became the way we know it. And so there are so many people that were famous either for 15 seconds or 15 minutes or 15 years that we're just going to be inundated with all these deaths. And I think what is really going to be isn't that more people are dying. It's the same people are going to be dying. It's more so that we're more aware because we become more connected as a species. By the time
we just keep flipping out every time it happens.
Yeah.
Too. Like I just tune it out now. Like on some deaths, it's kind of sad. Like I'm not that affected now when I read them. Like a while ago, Richard Attenborough died, and I was like, all right, yeah, that's a bummer. But like like cool, I kind of just said it like in sort of an emotionless way, and a bunch of my friends were like, "Are you kidding me? The guy from Jurassic Park?" I was like, "Well, hey,
yeah, you mean the guy from Jurassic Park?
He was like 90. I'm sure he had a good life, man. But people die. I don't know the guy personally. I can't be heartbroken about it every single time somebody dies. It's not someone that's big in my life.
It's pretty rare for me for when someone passes, if I don't know them, just some celebrity, where I'm really shocked. Like, yeah, Anton Yelchin, Prince, David Bowie. Who was it a couple of weeks ago? I remember there was someone pretty big. Oh, it was a fucking, of course, because we did it at the Cinema Forum. Wow, this cough drop is really drying out my mouth. It's making my throat feel really good. But Bill Paxton,
yeah,
like, I was really shocked for that one.
I was like, that's a bummer. But then at the same time, it's like I don't know the guy, and he made it to 60, and it's like, well, that sucks though. Still,
it just I think it's catching up with us. Like celebrity culture is our existence, and especially in terms of this new show.
That is fair, yeah.
It's gonna be hard to do it every show and to pay them the moment of silence or whatever the hell we do or what everyone does. It's like guarantee, as sad as it to say, as morbid as it might sound, someone else is gonna die this week. Whether it's someone we've never heard of or someone super famous, it's just gonna happen now.
It's like I gotta be honest, I'm not gonna be affected by it every time, and you gotta keep fucking living your life, and it's like when it does affect you, you can mourn, and by all means let it affect you because in some way it's important to you. But I'm not gonna pretend to really like be that that person on Facebook or whatever that's like, oh, I'm so shocked, this is so sad or whatever. It's like no, like because it's disrespectful to the people that are actually mourning it, and it actually means something to them.
Like I'm just not one of those people on the internet. Not even when it's someone I actually know. My grandfather died. Was that like 7 months ago now? I didn't post about on the internet.
September.
Yeah, basically September. It was August.
Yeah.
My cat shortly thereafter. Nope. Like I'm a very private person when it comes to those kind of things. Like maybe I'll tell someone. I'll definitely talk about it on our show. But no, like
it's like I'm a private person in general too.
It's like at the point where it's
some
almost
things you got to keep for yourself.
It's almost like you don't even care when you boast. It's like the opposite of boasting, but when you publicly kind of just what's the word? When you grieve like that on a public spectrum, it's weird. It's really weird.
It's like you expect someone else to react, which now, like when I post something, usually on Facebook, I try to add entertainment value in there. Like that's, but I don't know. It's everyone uses it differently. Like some people just use it constantly and post what seems like every little thought that. I don't know. It seems like the most thin-skinned people in the world actually post everything that they're thinking.
Well, talking about deaths, one person that won't die is Adam Sandler. Netflix actually just re-upped his movie deal. He'd only done 2 with them. He did, Ridiculous 6 and The Do-Over, which we have reviews for both of them. He has another 4 now on top of the 2 he hadn't done. So there's going to be 6 more at the very least. Not to mention the other Happy Madison things.
Movie theaters after all.
Well, we'll get to that in just a second. The next one, though, Sandy Wexler, is going to be April 14th. We're definitely going to do an episode for that.
I want to see it, honestly.
I want to see it, right?
Yeah.
The weirdest thing about this news story isn't exactly the story itself, but the reactions to it. Future Horsepod Tyler didn't respond on either Twitter or Facebook, private or public, about this. And so I'm curious, like I felt like contacting me for the show, like, hey, you got a comment? I would be like over the moon if I was him. I was like, that's a guaranteed 6 more episodes of the Adam Sandcast. Which is weird because his competitor's show, they already finished. So not only is he the first, but also the longest running Adam Sandler dedicated podcast, which is funny. Well, he's probably busy doing other things.
He'll inevitably do it. It's not, I mean, I don't know. Hey, you may as well ask. See if you can hop on for one of them.
I was going to ask. Maybe he'll do I'd like to do Sandy Wexler with him, actually. I'd like to go on his show. I still want to be on the Adam Sandcast. When I first found out who he was on the internet when we first met, before I wasn't really aware of his shows, I asked if he wanted someone to do Men, Women, and Children with, and he was like, "Oh, I already got someone." I was like, "Fuck." Okay, next time. I think he hasn't seen Mixed Nuts. He should. We'll
Yeah,
make
like
him.
I guess it looked like if he did Men, Women, and Children, then yeah, definitely he's doing everything, I guess. But when I saw
He's
that
doing
he did
everything.
do Mixed Nuts, I was like, okay, is he only doing the Happy Madison stuff? Or
Mm-mm.
I mean, yeah, how is Mixed Nuts not on there? Because that is prime Adam Sandler material, even if he's not the main character of the movie.
We'll have to ask him. We got a show to do. Someone else, though, kind of big name in Hollywood, and this is only a news item because we chronicled it for so long that it's important now. But Shia LaBeouf, whose "He Will Not Divide Us" anti-Trump art project, has been pretty fucked up to say the least, is moving again. It started in New York at the Museum of the Moving Image. Then it got shut down. It moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Got shut down again, and now it's moving across the ocean, and it's going to be in Liverpool. So let's hope it stays there because it's starting to become like more important than the presidency actually is, at least in terms of this show. We don't talk politics at all anymore because hey, what's the point? But yeah, I still haven't tuned into this thing, even though we reported on it like 3 or 4 times, 4 or 5 times. Interesting, just little thing though. Like it can't be that interesting to watch outside of like the New York stuff when that happened. I saw the GIF of him getting like well, it wasn't a GIF. It was actually a video clip of him like yelling at the dude right in his face. It was fucking
Doesn't it
mean.
also lose some effect, like when it's it's abroad somewhere?
Yeah, when you're
'Cause He Will Not
boycotting
Divide
a
Us
presidency
yeah, it's
in a
supposed to be
country
about
that
your
doesn't.
domestic
Yeah,
presidency, like.
it's kind of weird.
Yeah, but I don't know. You take it where you can get it, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially Shia LaBeouf. And here's the thing that you were talking about, the death in the movie theater. So Brett Ratner was at the Sun Valley Film Festival this past week and doing just some interviews. He was speaking out against Rotten Tomatoes, which I love because fuck Rotten Tomatoes. And he called it, quote unquote, the worst thing about our current film culture. There's a whole quote that you can read. It was like kind of broken up. But the gist of it, and he used a horrible example, was that Batman vs. Superman wasn't a bad movie and would have done a lot better if people actually watched it instead of going off Rotten Tomatoes. And the reason this is a horrible example is because Rat Pack, his production company, co-financed the film.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like nepotism in a way.
It totally is like a bit of bitterment there of like assuming like, oh well, if this didn't happen, we would have made more money. Like
It's true,
that
though. It made
negates your
$800 million. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's like he is negating his point by presenting it that way, but
his own movie.
I mean,
yeah.
I do agree with at least that, as far as like Rotten Tomatoes kind of ruining it in some way, because yeah, people do look at that like every time that someone like refers to reviews or what the critics say, they're never talking about a critic. They refer to
Talking
Rotten
about a number.
Tomatoes like.
Yeah.
I saw the fucking thing you were saying on Twitter with Peter.
saw it, right?
You're totally in the right, by the way.
Yeah, he's a fucking asshole, man.
Yeah.
I knew that in private. Now it's proof in public.
Yeah, it's like, and I mean, he should have posted her. It's like, you know what? I agree more with Brett Ratner on that one. It's like the fact that like I like the idea of it, but the fact that it's held like to the standard that's the end all fucking be all. That's the definitive thing that people look to for quality. Like I think is stupid. It's fun to see the ratio of how many people like something versus how many dislike it, but. Yeah, like people will talk about quote the critics in conversation, and like they won't mention Rotten Tomatoes. They'll pull up the site, then they'll look at the percentage and be like, oh, the critics are saying it's not that good without reading a fucking thing. They're just looking at the thing. Like I had a fucking conversation with a friend that just watched Passengers recently, and they
He's
were
like,
like,
"Oh,
yeah,
wasn't that bad,
I'm
huh?"
surprised that like I really
Yeah.
liked it. The critics didn't say it was good. And I was like, yeah, well, sometimes you gotta like you gamble with everything. It's not
Yeah.
gonna be a fucking promise of whether it's good or not when you fucking see something. Like when you read critics, you should be reading critics anyways that you trust as far as recommendations, whose tastes line up with yours.
The real bad thing here isn't the slash home thing that I'll talk about in a minute, but it
Yeah.
was most of the people on the internet were going, Brett Ratner, the director of some of the worst films of all time, said this about Rotten Tomatoes. And there
He's
was like
a fucking
left.
smart producer, man. Like
It's not
he
even
knows
his
shit in
his
some ways.
production chops. Like he's a good director. Like he
Yeah.
made 2 good Rush Hour films. He might make another one. Whatever. He might have made a bad X-Men movie, but hey, he made The Family Man. Like he made Money Talks. Like he made some good movies. He has an amazing Entourage cameo. Like
He made
he's a smart
probably
guy.
the best Hannibal Lecter movie.
Oh, hey, he did Red Dragon. I forgot about that.
Yeah, like I know Silence of the Lambs is great, but Red Dragon is really fucking good. He made the best version of that story.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're talking about
Yeah.
Manhunter. You're
Yeah.
talking about Hannibal season 1. But
I've
yeah,
not seen that, but
Peter at /film on Twitter. He's at CinemaCon right now, and all he did today, he was like, he did a Periscope walkthrough of CinemaCon, which I've actually tuned in before too. I didn't do it this time. And one of the things that he was taking pictures of lots of posters, like, hey, here's one for Atomic Blonde. He's like, hey, look, one of our writers actually is quoted on it because they love doing that /film.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he posted this tweet of a picture of a Rotten Tomatoes billboard that says, bringing you the freshest ratings and reviews, Rotten Tomatoes, and he quipped, Brett Ratner probably thinks this poster is single-handedly destroying all of Hollywood, to which I responded, except it, alongside Metacritic, truly is a bullshit aggregator. The average person doesn't read a single review, only the score. And he responded
and the
in a way...
consensus.
He responded in a way that I didn't even know people could actually just do non sequiturs, and he said Rotten Tomato doesn't kill people or Hollywood, people kill people. And I thought about it for a long time, and at first I thought he was referring to a quote that Brett Ratner said, and I went out there and I actually reread that conversation he had with that journalist, or the one-sided conversation, and I'm like, is this like a quip on top of a quip about him saying that Rotten Tomatoes is killing Hollywood?
Or is that just a dumb response?
It was a dumb response. So I responded to it. I was like,
yeah, that.
What does this have to do with scoring metrics? I've had countless conversations with people where the Rotten Tomatoes score is used as proof of quality. Rotten Tomatoes, alongside box office, is just the latest statistic, which lowers cinema from an art form to a competition. Film isn't sports. And he didn't respond.
I disagree with his response to
it was
entirely.
a weird response. Like, it's not the first time that he and I have had a conversation on Twitter. I think this was the first time from the Dollar Views handle. But
Oh, so you're putting my name on there too, then?
no, your name's not on there, actually. Neither is mine, actually, for that matter.
Well, it's supposed to be us, though. That is representative of us.
It's us, but even
Yeah.
still, you just said that you agree.
I do. No, yeah.
No, it's like
that is a weird response.
he was
honestly.
attacking a public figure who said something that's actually smart. For the first time in a long time, someone came out and spoke out against the Rotten Tomatoes score and how detrimental it is to the film industry. Literally, people will decide not to go to see a movie if it's rotten or fresh. Just that. Not even the percentage, just if it's fresh or rotten. Like, that is the criteria. And it's not without merit.
It's
I
not
mean,
true every time.
But
like,
it's usually true.
There's definitely times where people don't care. But yeah, no, like, it is true. We are in an age where, quote, just critics as a community, they can make or break a film.
like the
Even if
one...
they praise something, like, it's still... in a home video especially, like, Rotten Tomatoes will carry through to that. You go on fucking Vudu, like, there's
Yeah,
a section
they put it
devoted
there.
to what the percentage is. That's going to affect someone's choices on whether they rent something.
Yeah,
Like,
especially on Fandango now, also because
yeah.
Comcast owns Fandango and Rotten Tomatoes, so of course they're going to put it side by side.
yeah, like, they will consider that, like, as an option of what they're going to review. Like,
But
Netflix
it goes-
could do that one day for all I know.
It goes past that because, like, I'm part of the problem too. In high school, when I was really into music, I would go on Pitchfork Media every night. I would go on at 10 p.m. Pacific time so I could read the reviews at midnight Eastern. Well, not Eastern, but Central, because they're published in Chicago. And I would read the reviews, especially if it was something that got a really good score. Like, in many ways, Dollar Views, especially at its inception, was heavily influenced by what Ryan Scriber did there and by the Pitchfork model. They had their score ratings from a 0.0 to a 10.0, or a 10 actually, and then they have a Best New Music, which is basically, I'd buy that for $1. Except I would actually read the reviews. One of my best friends, Luis, would read the reviews, and we'd play a game where we would try to guess what the score would be for the review before it came out. And we read it so much that we understood their critical voice to such a point that, yeah, we could actually guess their score. I did it this week. I reviewed Drake's More Life last week on our show. I guessed 7.6. I got 7.8. Okay? Like, that's pretty accurate. The difference between that is they are a singular critic that would be included in Metacritic scores or Rotten Tomatoes if they did music, which I have to assume eventually they will do because they have to move past movies because, hey, that's just movies. I knew these these critics. I knew the way they reviewed things. I could have a feel for the way that they would like or not like something, not based on my own impression, but what I would think that they would like as a critical device.
Over time, you read them, and then you know what their tastes
Exactly.
are. You see how you connect with it, and you trust them when they say something obscure that you should check out, right?
The difference between what we would do for fun and what Rotten Tomatoes does is there's no way for you to guess a Rotten Tomatoes score because it's an aggregate of what percentage of out all of the critics were positive. The better question is, how do you determine if something is positive or negative?
Well,
If you read
Rotten
an
Tomatoes
entire
has just
piece,
become a bit more cliche now, too.
it's
Honestly.
beyond cliche. It's like the stupidest thing in Hollywood. Like more so than box office numbers. Like it used to be, oh, it made $100 million, it's a hit, and you'd see the trailers. I mean, the commercials after the biggest comedy in America. Now they even put Rotten Tomatoes scores on commercials. They say it's certified fresh. Go see it, and maybe they'll supplement that with box office and awards and things on the side, where it's like a Rotten score means more to people than a Razzie does. Like the Razzie's a joke now. Like no one cares about the Golden Raspberry Awards. Versus like if it's Rotten, people will seriously not watch it. And it's sad that Brett Ratner picked one of his own movies, and also that he picked the theatrical cut, which is a fucking train wreck. But yeah, a lot of people would have saw Batman vs Superman if it didn't get such a backlash. If some people hated it, and they still hate it. Like the Justice League trailer came out on Saturday, which is awesome, by the way. I was real sad that they didn't put it in front of Power Rangers, which I think is like the weirdest fucking decision.
It's in front of Chips, probably.
Maybe.
Warner Brothers.
I mean, I didn't see King Kong on Saturday, but maybe it's attached to that now. But yeah, like people are still thinking that Justice League is going to be shit and Wonder Woman's going to be shit because they didn't like Batman vs Superman. And those same people also didn't like Suicide Squad for the same reason.
In some cases, though, like Suicide Squad is an example of, like, it's fucked up because that movie is a hit and it made less than Batman versus Superman, and
Huge
that
hit.
has a lower score, I think.
It's
Or
like
just about the same. So
and this is how skewed
yeah,
Hollywood
there's
is
people
too.
that like that movie too. It's
Like,
I don't know, man.
We were just talking about Netflix. Netflix is like they're immune to Rotten Tomatoes.
hmm
Ridiculous Six, Do Over,
Just Adam Sandler
below
in general.
15. Yeah, Adam Sandler. Well, Adam Sandler now below. Like I'm pretty sure Punk Drunk Love is like 70 plus, 80 plus. Maybe like something else out there that he's done, but his films or anything on Netflix, especially shows. Look at like Iron Fist or Luke Cage even. It doesn't matter what it scores because when you can watch it for quote unquote free, when you have a subscription model, when you're streaming and you want to watch it anyway, because the Adam Sandler movies are the biggest hits on Netflix. Period. They still won't release the numbers, but that was part of the press release for the hey, we're doing 4 more movies. People don't care when they already have a ticket, quote unquote, versus when someone potentially is going to spend money, even though I saw Power Rangers this weekend, I saw it for free. I didn't care about what the critics were going to say. I didn't read those reviews. I didn't want to know. I wanted to make my own decision. I wrote my own review. And if Rotten Tomatoes were to read my review, they would probably say it's rotten. However,
Your score says otherwise.
it's not that my score says otherwise. The review says otherwise. If you actually read the review, if you don't
I
take
don't want to read it because I still want to see it.
if you don't take bits and pieces, if you don't find sound bites, if you actually look at it on the whole, which is what film criticism used to be. Can you imagine if someone tuned into one of our review shows and they listened to 5 minutes of it and they made up their mind based on that 5 minutes? Like, how would they actually know what we thought? That's what Rotten Tomatoes is. It's taking one sentence out of like 500 to 1,000
It's not
words.
even in context either.
Yeah.
So I'm not so sure that Rotten Tomatoes is great for criticisms either. Just because like the ratings themselves are kind of becoming like obvious, like especially for big tentpole releases where
Yeah.
you know what the feedback is going in, what the hype is, and it seems like whatever the hype level it's at, like then that's where the score is going to end up being like. And then there's really no fun in any discussion. Like, I like Logan a lot, but then I see that it's like, well, 92%. No, there are issues with that movie. And, like, you can go on actual threads where people are having, like, actual discussions that just have more weight to them on it. But then, like, on Rotten Tomatoes, no, everyone seems to unanimously agree, oh, hey, this movie's rated R now. suddenly it's amazing. And honestly, like I thought about it. I think the Wolverine is better than that.
The
But
Wolverine is better.
yeah, I mean, even if that movie has problems too, but like just
Every movie
yeah,
has problems.
but the Wolverine was treated as just kind of another X-Men movie with that was a better one than Origins in that case, and did some things different. But oh shit, an R rating changes everything all of a sudden,
The
like.
real issue with Rotten Tomatoes too, and we talked about this a lot, and we're going to move on from a second here, but it's multifaceted. Number one, film critics on the whole are paid to see a movie. They're working. They have to go to the theater. They don't care about their expectations. They care about their readers, okay? And it's a day's industry, less about their readers and what score they're going to get from Rotten Tomatoes. If they're going to be included in the Rotten Tomatoes aggregate, okay? So they're on their job. They're there. They're watching the movie. They didn't wait in line. They didn't buy their tickets in advance. Like, think about the critics out there that make a big deal about a film either having an embargo for too long, or in the better case scenario, some like Yoga Hosers that doesn't have a fucking critic screening.
And is also something made by a guy who has a certain war against
Yeah,
critics, or has
like
historically anyway.
those people, those kind of critics make a big deal about something like that. It's like, no, you should have to wait in line just like I do. You should buy your ticket just like I do. Like, I got into a conversation with German Lester at Clash Film about the same fucking thing too once upon a time, because I said,
Except he did wait in line because that was a South by screening.
I guess, but no, it wasn't something small. I think it was something big. It
It was
doesn't
Keanu,
matter.
yeah.
Was it Keanu?
Yeah.
Either or. Like, he said, I pay for my own movies, but it's like you don't really, because you get paid for the things that you write. So it's kind of like a tax refund. You get your money back eventually. Like, you
I
definitely
mean,
get
I'm
paid
not
more
gonna
than
text
$10 an
someone
hour.
when it's for that. Like, I'm not gonna
No,
attack them based
I
on
don't
that.
care. It was a
Yeah.
small thing, and I was attacking him based on what they wrote, not in terms of being a guy. I don't care about him. But no, it has to end. Like, when you're on iTunes, or if you're on
It's not gonna
Amazon.
change, man.
Well, I'm
Like,
just saying, if you're like on iTunes or on Amazon, like when you're on an actual storefront, they generally, you said Voodoo, that's a little bit different, but on those, it's reviews by the actual consumers, where you can get a better taste. I mean, maybe not on Amazon where you get stupid ass like 1 stars where it's like it wasn't about a cat or whatever. But like if you're on iTunes, like generally speaking, these are people that actually paid for something. They're reviewing it based on what they liked or didn't like, and you can get a little bit of a taste. Like, you can go on Reddit, like go on like our movies or something, or like comic book movies, and
have
get.
you ever seen Redbox reviews?
No, I never
Those
use
are
Redbox.
those are pretty laughable, honestly. I
It's
mean, because
it's
they're always over
Redbox.
the place. But yeah, like
It's people that are too lazy to see a movie in theaters, so they rent it for $1.50 or $3 weeks after,
yeah, and
and
they're always
then
like very short reviews that are just
yeah,
very simple, and it's like 5 stars or it's half a star or no stars. Like this is great or this is
no.
terrible.
The,
Never in between.
See, Rotten Tomatoes and the populism of film reviews post at the movies has created this idea that anyone can be a critic when that isn't the case. Like, I was reading some stuff that I stumbled upon on Reddit this past week that was just, it wasn't that it was written poorly. It wasn't that the guy needed an editor and he was using cliches in his writing. It was more so he was like opening sentences with, well, it's obvious that, like, it was from front to back, maybe you shouldn't be doing this. I don't like your voice, dude. But at the same time, it's like, we're part of the problem too. It's like we're people that think we're entitled to share our opinions about things because, hey, our voice matters.
Not entitled. It's just I like doing it. I like the
I like doing
discussion
it
around
too.
it. Like hey, we got a rating system too, but the conversation and the context of how that rating gets applied, it's different every time.
It's
Like,
weird.
yeah, I mean, it's just, hey, it's an outlet where I can share my views on something, maybe get another idea stimulated just based off what you say, and then we bounce back and forth, and it can be fun, like, and if someone can have other ideas or pitch in something in the conversation, or just they end up starting thinking about something a certain way that, based on something we said, then hey, that's awesome. But yeah, like, I mean, it's not like I don't know what the fuck is a critic, because to me it's more like I just look at it as more of a discussion. I'm not like I don't feel like I have fucking powers behind this microphone or a keyboard or anything. It's just, I see something, I try to understand it the best way I can. I react to it and I share that reaction, not everyone's gonna have the same ones, so we bounce back and forth on that.
We got to wrap this
That's
up.
what criticism is to me. It's a dialect.
Oh, you mean dialogue?
Yeah,
We're gonna wrap
sure.
this up. We got a long show to do. But basically, Brett Ratner was using his power as a public figure to basically try to curb the power that Rotten Tomatoes has. And instead of people who could possibly write something good about this and go, yeah, why is it that Rotten Tomatoes is fucking King Sovereign? They all laughed at him. They questioned his credentials. They jabbed him. They said, and quoting Peter, Rotten Tomatoes or Hollywood don't kill people, people kill people. Like, what? Like, you had the possibility to enter a conversation with me. Instead, you made some smart-ass comment, and it just further proves how much I don't like you as a person, Peter. It's dumbfounding. Like, Rotten Tomatoes literally is scripture now. Like, my parents, on both sides of the aisle, they look at Rotten Tomatoes and they go, oh, I don't know if it's good. It got rotten. And that is, I would say, like 70% of the population. They just do that. If you're on Letterboxd or you're on Reddit or if you're on, countless other, you could even say Vudu or Amazon. Like, if you have, like, a certain site or if you have a certain kind of community, maybe you're going to trust them more. Like, I trust Letterboxd to an extent or IMDb to an extent or Metacritic or whatever. But at the end of the day, I still try to make my own opinion whenever possible. Like, I saw Suicide Squad twice opening weekend. I enjoyed it. I didn't let Rotten Tomatoes decide my own decision.
Yeah. You were much kinder to Warcraft than I was.
I liked Warcraft.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a good movie, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Well, you also didn't see it on a big screen opening
No,
weekend.
but I mean, I wanted to like it, but then it's like, would it get like a 20% or something? And I was
bad.
Like, I mean, it's like, okay, I don't think that's unfair, but I even looked at some reviews and they were negative, but they weren't like fucking hateful, like, oh, this is fucking terrible or anything, which is how people, when they see a number that low, they assume, oh, that must mean it's terrible. Like, it's not even right in the context of how people think it's not necessarily a good movie.
Like, I had this conversation with someone in relation to me seeing Power Rangers. I was like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go see that for free. And he's like, what if it sucks? I'm like, well, if I'm seeing it for free, it kind of can't suck. That's the case with Warcraft. Saw that for free. Suicide Squad. I mean, lots of movies I see either between T-Mobile or other kind of deals I see on the internet.
And if it sucks, then it fucking sucks, and you talk about it. That's it.
Even better than that, though, like, because he used Fantastic Four, the remake, as an example. He's like, well, what about that one? You saw that for free. I was like, no. I did not see that for free. I worked for a movie theater, and I used my perk of working there to see a film. That's a little bit different. Versus, like,
But you did technically see it for free.
Technically, I saw it for free.
Yeah.
But it was also at the end of a shift. And I saw midnight, so I could rush home to do a review with you about it. And I was real mad that I did that. Like, I like, brushed someone off at work whose birthday it was. And I didn't help her clean the kitchen so I could see the movie. Like, I regret that decision. I regret seeing that movie. Like, I regret certain things about that day. Versus Power Rangers, I don't want to really talk about it. That's what Dollar Reviews is for. We'll do penny thoughts on that. But it was free, and I kind of enjoyed it. I had a bad theater experience. I had a mongoloid behind me yelling at the screen like his friends were up there. I had someone in the very front row on her phone for like 20 minutes. I had a kid jumping up and down right in front of me. I had a couple things that were shitty. It wasn't the best screening experience I've ever had. It's a theater that I generally avoid. But at the same time, I had a good time. I had a good hour and a half, 2 hours of watching a movie that I didn't pay $1 for. And if you're seeing something for free, especially like if it's on Netflix and you're quote unquote once again seeing it for free, you don't care about the critics. It no longer matters. Like Rotten Tomatoes or us, like I'd buy that for $1, is supposed to be this safety net where, as someone who's either unfamiliar with the material or unsure if you want to see it, can make up your decision if you do want to do that. And when you don't actually do the research, when you look at a number, a quick 2-digit number, what are you doing with your life? Like, do something a little bit more. You could
Seriously.
do real research. Please do real research. Don't let a corporation, don't let Fandango, don't let Rotten Tomatoes, which is owned by Fandango, which is owned by NBC Universal, which is owned by Comcast, decide your fate. Don't let one of the biggest corporations in the world pick and choose what movie you want to see. because I have to imagine at a certain point they're going to come under some shit because of like vertical integration monopoly laws, where they're only highlighting reviews for Universal movies that are good. Like that's a very good possibility eventually.
You know, it's funny. I'm thinking about this now. I know you have not watched the show, but you know, for those that have, there's this Community episode of Meow Meow being zapped that takes a Logan's Run riff on it, and you know, I doubt that the effect of Rotten Tomatoes is like that heavy, but you know, as an exaggerated example of that, it's yeah, maybe it's there. It's worth checking out the episode, even if you haven't watched the show, just to get the point.
I'll probably get to a Community
Yeah.
eventually. I'll give it another go. But yeah, moving on. This is kind of a big deal. It could be a headline, but hey, we're just talking about something kind of big, so it makes sense to do it here. Bob Iger, CEO of Disney, has re-upped. He's extended his contract by another year. He's going to stay at the House of Mouse until July 2019. He's promising, this is it. I'm done. I swear this is it. I swear this is it. Which makes sense because, hey, if you run the biggest the biggest, media corporation on the planet in terms of something like Disney, you might be able to run for president, and that's going to be right in time for the primaries. So it's a possibility. But yeah,
I mean, yeah, we do have a lot of corporate billionaires that are going for it now.
part of the weird thing about this too was his press release. He promised another decade of Star Wars movies, which is just sad to think about. Another Star Wars movie for at least the next 8 years. Which is going to happen. We already know it's going to happen.
I'm actively considering now if I want to see the Han Solo spin-off movie in theaters.
Fuck you! You're going to see it. It's Phil Lord and Chris Miller, and it's Han Solo.
I had this conversation with someone today where they were like, "Oh, Rogue One's out on digital now. Like you can watch it." I'm just thinking, I seriously I'm not all fuck Rogue One, fuck Gareth Edwards, but I really thought about this, and I don't want to see another Star Wars movie until Episode 8 comes out.
This is going to be after Episode 8.
Yeah, I know. And then even after that, I might be like, well, I don't want to see anything until Episode 9 comes out. Because
you want to see
that's
Colin
be
Trevorrow?
5-6 months later.
You want to see Jurassic World dude doing Star Wars?
I want to
really
see him
that?
fucking make up for that because I was not a fan of Jurassic World. A lot of people were, but no, he's got a movie in between that's coming out too.
Yeah, he's got
and hopefully that is something.
Book of something.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called right now.
I think it's Focus Features. I think is putting it out, so it should be lower budget. But yes, I would love that, because I was a fan of Safety Not Guaranteed.
I was a big fan of that. But
Yeah.
it was a top 10 for that year for me. No, I'm gonna definitely see Han Solo.
I don't. Well, if I'm not saying I'm not seeing it, but it's like that. Those are things I might have to consider because I don't want to be overexposed. And
I wouldn't have
just
seen
out of it with this stuff.
I wouldn't have seen Rogue One if I didn't get my $2 ticket. But Han Solo, I'm definitely going, even if I got to pay, just because it's Phil and Lord and Chris Miller.
There will probably be a trailer that makes me want to go. Yeah,
you're gonna see it just because you're gonna see it. There's no way you're not gonna see it.
I don't know. We'll see. But it's in the case of Rogue One, that was just my reaction recently. Was I don't want to force have a diet of Star Wars of stuff that it's when you want to go eat somewhere, but you're not really hungry, and then you have a burger or something anyway, and then it's not that great, and you probably you realize you shouldn't have spent your money. I don't want to do that with Star Wars.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Bob Iger, the real reason I believe he got his re-up is one reason and one reason only, and it has nothing to do with Star Wars. The Marvel Cinematic Universe began under his tutelage. They probably want him to stay until Phase 3 is over. July 2019 is exactly when Infinity War Part 2 comes out. So that's probably going to be it. That was probably just them going, well, you paid your dues. You've been here since the first Avengers. Actually, before that. How about you just stay until it's over? And he was probably like, yeah, I like that idea. I want to get extra $1 billion or whatever. Sign me up. So there you go. I bet you he's going to stay on the board of directors even after he steps down as CEO, because when you're the guy that oversaw the purchase of Pixar, Lucasfilm, and Marvel,
he'll definitely be one of the majority shareholders.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
They're not going to let you go. That's too much power. And then also, the question is, well, who replaces him? You're the most powerful CEO in Hollywood. You're not. No. Well, technically, that's Burbank, but whatever. Fuck it. This is kind of sad, though, talking about Marvel. Last week, we put in the wrong spot. It was a headline, and I was kind of tired. We were both kind of tired talking about it. But less than a week after Sony announcing a Venom spin-off movie, I guess they didn't get enough. They also put out 3 posters, 2 of which look actually really cool for Spider-Man: Homecoming. They announced that they're doing a Silver Sable Black Cat team up flick. Also, that's in development now. What's sad here is Venom is gonna start shooting in like 3 or 4 months. I doubt they even have a finished script, but they're shooting like 3 or 4 months. And the big talking point we had was, well, is this in the MCU? Is this a Spideyverse? Is Spider-Man gonna be in it? Is it going to be the same Spider-Man? Are they going to use a different one? How does that work? It's the same question here, and even bigger question is, like, I get we don't really have female superheroes on screen. Like, yeah, we got Wonder Woman like 3 months. After that, we get Captain Marvel and like no one in between, so maybe Sony can step up to the bat before then. But these are characters that are pretty boring, especially Black Cat. She's essentially Black Widow, or like Catwoman. Like, it's that side piece, especially in relation to Catwoman. It's like, yeah, you're only interested in because you're this femme fatale / like sex object that hangs around this popular character for the most part. And given that she's never been in any live action material, and also isn't that big a character in the comic books, despite me having the Spider-Man Black Cat comic book that Kevin Smith wrote called The Evil That Men Do, which is kind of good. I don't know why they're doing this. Like, it kind of seems like that Harley Quinn Gotham City Sirens movie that David Ayer is following Suicide Squad up with at DC. And it's a further question of why. Like, this
It doesn't matter anymore. Like, Marvel is so powerful at this point that the name itself is a brand, and they can introduce something new, and people will still eat it up just because that brand Marvel that's on there.
maybe,
It
but
could be popular. Like, I mean, that's the power that they have, man.
it still begs the question: Does the
They don't
Disney
lose
deal
anything by doing it.
extend to these films, or are these separate? Is it going to have its own Spider-Man? Is Spider-Man going to be in both, except it's kind of like the Quicksilver thing that happened in Days of Future Past and Apocalypse versus Quicksilver in Age of Ultron? You know, like, is there segregation there?
Honestly,
Is it
like
shared? Like,
we have Marvel movies that are not related to the MCU, and there's already that confusion there among the
Not-
public on this stuff. So
it's less now
I,
though.
I,
Like,
I think that they might not necessarily care. They might just do it, and if something is specifically connected, then they'll address that. If not, then they won't care. As long as the movie's good, no one's going to care.
so that's the thing though. After all of the ones that died and after all the properties reverting, Disney owns all of them, with the exception of X-Men related properties and Spider-Man related properties. Fantastic Four, Ghost Rider, Daredevil, that's all reverted back to Disney. Like, they own it all except X-Men
So
and,
they
and
would just
Spider-Man.
own it all, and they would keep it separate or connect it. You know, it's up to them.
We'll find out how bad
Studios
it
have
is.
done that before with comic book properties. It's not like X-Men and Fantastic Four were the same universe at that point.
It's different though.
It was just the same studio, or that Daredevil.
Nowadays, you can't make a superhero film if it isn't connected in some way. Fuck film. You can't make a superhero entity if it's not connected in some kind of larger universe.
There's always
So-
been Easter eggs. That's always
No,
been a thing.
I'm not talking about Easter egg. I'm saying, like, this has to be, like I said, Sony Spideyverse. Like, that's probably what they're going to call it. And we're probably going to see some kind of test footage come out of Comic-Con. Maybe even, like, have a cast announced. We're gonna see this in the next 2 months for sure. It's like, it would be really cool, and I doubt it. But maybe perhaps, Sony has an exclusive Spider-Man game only on PS4 coming out sometime in the near future that they announced last E3. Be cool at E3 this year if they get a date for that, and they say it is connected to the Venom and Silk Spectre Silk Sable movie, but not Homecoming. Like, Homecoming's Disney, but those aren't. So we can do it within the video game. Like, that'd be cool if they could make their own shared universe based in their video game properties and their outside movies and their animated movie. But I don't got my fingers crossed. I'm not gonna see. I might see Venom, not seeing this Black Cat movie. I highly doubt anyone's gonna see this Black Cat movie. But
It depends on what they do with it, man, and what moves they make at this point.
yeah, I'm not a soothsayer.
It's in development, so who knows?
can't-
Anything can happen.
I can't predict anything. Something else that's in development. This is like the weirdest thing. Universal won the rights to a bidding war this week for the Voyage of Dr. Doolittle. Yep, that's right. They're doing a third iteration of Dr. Doolittle. And this time it's starring Robert Downey Jr. And this is notable, obviously, because he's basically been chained to Iron Man with the exception of the Sherlock Holmes movies, which are all basically dead. And also that what the fuck was that movie called with Robert Duvall that came out like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that no one saw?
The Judge.
The Judge, yeah.
I like that movie.
I didn't say it was bad. I just said what it was called. Yeah, no one saw The Judge, and outside The Judge, he really hasn't done like anything. It's been Iron Man. So
Yeah.
this is interesting that he's gonna be doing
Well, that and whatever
another
he's
big
doing
movie.
with Richard Linklater right now in town.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
they're filming something. Um, but the first two were hits. The Eddie Murphy one, obviously, that had like one direct sequel and two spin-off, like direct to DVD, and then the original one too, which is a musical that was actually nominated for Best Pictures for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna be good, even though it's not that original, because it's hey, what if a doctor could talk to animals?
Kids love that.
Kids do love that,
Yeah.
and everyone's gonna see it because it's Robert Downey Jr. I'm sure it'll be campy and it'll be fun and it's gonna be a hit. And it's Universal, so hey, they need them. So hope they do well with this. This is Sony. Amy Schumer, she was cast as Barbie a couple of months ago. And I was like, what the fuck? And I read the synopsis. I was like, it's Barbie, except she's like the outcast, and that's kind of cool. It's about like good looks don't matter. Nope, they matter. She's not Barbie anymore. Who knows who they cast? It'd be cool if it'd be Lisa Kudrow, because I just look at her and I picture Barbie. Or like Reese Witherspoon if she was younger still, or like
Would they make that a big deal with Lisa Kudrow as far as age?
I think she's too old to be Barbie.
Yeah.
Like if during
'Cause
Friends,
it's like yeah, I keep
perfect
picturing
Barbie.
Friends, but it's like, well, that's 20 years ago.
Yeah, she doesn't quite look like that anymore. She has quite a
Yeah.
sweet. But even still, I hope they cast an unknown now, since they're moving away. Because it was already weird that they're casting someone who's known as a raunchy comic as like the big female icon in capitalism. It's like, plus they were gonna have to cast Ken also, and I can't imagine Barbie opposite Ken like at all. But I don't know. It's stupid that they're even doing live action in the first place. It'd just be animation, make a spin-off of Toy Story, cast that Ken and Barbie, because, hey, I love Michael Keaton. He needs more money. Period. He has another movie coming out this year. I'm excited. Even though, The Founder wasn't great. But, hey, still love Michael Keaton.
Still a fan.
Still a fan. Last user we got here is in relation to Winter. Winter is coming July 16th. If you don't know what that means, you're way behind the times. Season 7 Game of Thrones is going to be happening in just a couple of weeks now. But better than that, George R. R. Martin, the creator of the Song of Fire and Ice, is actually celebrating it in an awesome way. He just announced that they're ready to open a non-profit film studio in Santa Fe, New Mexico. He's a big New Mexico guy. I don't know if he's from there, but he definitely lives there, and he's all about helping out his community. And so this is going to be a way to bring film production to a pretty much small town, even though it's a city. And they already have big people lined up. The Coen brothers are going to be filming part of their next film there. And this is going to be a way for their local film community and projects to get people from Hollywood, to get that kind of money, maybe influx. I mean, they already shoot stuff in New Mexico to begin with. Remember the first Thor shot there, but
Yeah.
they use it on
Breaking Bad
occasion.
shot there.
Yeah, Breaking Bad was famously set there. But this is pretty cool, especially if he owns the rights to. Well, I guess technically HBO owns the rights, but maybe they could even do some kind of Game of Thrones type stuff there. Maybe when they make the movie, they could film it at a studio, give him money back. I don't know. I really don't know. But this is cool. The fact that he's already got a team of big directors working there, probably in the coming months as soon as it's made. Pretty exciting. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know where you're going after Austin, but maybe you want to go to Santa Fe, New Mexico. That might be the place to go.
Yeah,
It's pretty close.
I don't know. I like it here. I don't know. New Mexico just doesn't seem that appealing.
So my grandpa's from New Mexico. I
I don't know. I think I'd rather leave the country, honestly. Like just to try to go abroad. Maybe go back home. I don't know. We'll see.
We will see. You'll have to tell our listeners in the years to come.
Yeah, that's I got a long life ahead of me.
So that was a lot of teasers. Those were the small things. We got a lot of big things to come, and this is where ad break could be. Like I said, Patreon, if you were to fund us, part of one of the offers is for $50 a month, 4 to 5 times a month. On our show, we have little ad breaks, like 2 to 3, and we could take one to talk about your thing. So like I said, I just bought a Kershaw knife. I really like it, even though it's made in China. It's very smooth. It opens with one hand. It is made with ACR13 MOV steel. It's very pretty. It's got a Tonto design with like a, I can't even describe it because it's so gorgeous. It's got a thumb stud. It's got a blade lock, or not a frame lock, excuse me, for the blade, which is cool. It's got a very deep sitting clip, so when it's in your pocket, people can't tell that you got a lethal weapon. It's a very pretty knife. The body itself, the handle, is kind of like a brushed, almost gray black steel, while the blade is like a traditional stonewashed silver. So it has like this duplicity to it where it doesn't look too scary at a distance, but up close you're definitely get your eyes gouged out. So it has like a drop point, but not really. So the tip is sharp, and then it has like, you just look it up, find some pictures. It's on Amazon. You can get it for about $28. It's with Prime. That means you're going to get shipped in less than 2 days. And you get the Prime card on top of that. You get 5% cash back all the time. So you can see, I can sell things. I can definitely sell you.
Yeah.
I could for sure sell anything you want us to sell.
We can do anything, whether it's knives or, hey, even incense sticks, which I got some given to me lately that I've been using, and I don't even have a brand for it. I don't know what it is, but hey, if you want to mail me some and have a brand on it, I'll happily pitch it.
There you go. We'll do it for you. Take some money. $50 is nothing. You know how much $50 can get you versus what it can get us? Like that'll pay almost for my whole phone bill. Definitely pay for my internet bill. $10 less my internet bill, boy. Hey, pretty close. Keep doing the show. Anyway, here's the rest of the show. Virtual reality's got its own spot because, like I said, Penny Thoughts is on dollar reviews now. Once again, it's gone home. And I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I was like, hey, I kind of want to do like a spotlight on VR things since we, there's always like one cool thing a week, or at least it seems like that. And this cool thing, I actually already tweeted it out. It's a new documentary VR experience called After Solitary that was funded by PBS. It uses this technology by 8i, which is basically like the same tech that they use for holograms. They do full body capture with like lots of different camera sensors, both above and below subjects and on all sides. Mm-hmm. And so what this documentary is, and it sounds awesome. It premiered at South by Southwest. It's coming to Oculus and HTC soon. I really, really hope it comes to PSVR. But it places you in a Supermax cell with someone who spent 2 decades there. So you're there for however long the experience is, and he's talking about, like, this is how I brush my teeth, this is where I go to sleep, this is how I do this. And then it jumps to his current bedroom on the outside, and you get the same kind of treatment. What it's like to be inside with him, what it's like to be outside with him. And once again, this is not CG. This is both the subject and the environment were captured using 8i's technology. This is real world. This is 100% real. This is HD. This is 360. And what's beautiful about this is that it raises what VR can accomplish, especially in a prison cell or a bedroom, because you got to remember, as far as room tracking and room scale is capable of in a in-home environment currently, it's about the size of a prison cell. Like, you did VR in my house. A prison cell is not that much bigger than the walk-in space you had. So it's going to perfectly encapture the kind of space you have in that type of environment. And then even furthermore, you did the Batman Arkham VR game.
Yeah.
At the end of that, you're literally in a prison cell. And so imagine if that wasn't fake. Like, if it was real. Like, if the sink and the toilet and the bed and everything in the window, if that was all real. So not only is this going to be important in terms of just documentarian footage, but even past that in terms of what it's like to, jump into the mind frame of being locked up. Like, this could work in terms of convincing people not to do like crimes, and even better than that, just as a historical document of, living with someone basically who spent a lot of their life in one of these facilities. So yeah, I've never said this before, but I can't wait to go to prison, especially when this lands at home. There's no price point yet.
It's safe and at home, right?
It's definitely safe. It's VR.
Yeah,
It can't hurt
it's
you.
a healthy form of house arrest.
But yeah,
for a couple hours.
I would hope that this is free. It's a documentary. It's VR, but because it's VR, it's probably not gonna be. I would picture
it's touted at this point as like a big one. Yeah.
It's like a pretty big deal at South by Southwest. I think it won a couple awards. So I would picture a $10 to $20 price point, probably 15. But yeah, like I said, we'll update you when this comes out. Just Google it. Like I said, it's called After Solitary. I'm very interested in this. It sounds awesome. This is a much bigger news story though. And this is a new person jumping in, or company, not person, even though companies basically claim to be people, and that's how copyright works if you're ever curious. But yeah, this is a new VR exhibition company, and they're going to be joining the fray. They're called Nomadic, and it's akin to the Void in that they are making VR experiences that are played out in environments with real-world elements in place around you, so you actually, suspend your disbelief to an heightened sense. Like, it's not just you in an open space. No, like there's railings and cabinets and shit. And so I was reading. I want to say it was Upload, but it could have been Road to VR. I can't recall. And it was like, it was the same thing like the Void. You're wearing a backpack computer with Oculus strapped in with sensors throughout the room. No mention of if this is going to have like heat and wind and scent and sound and around you. However, what makes this stand out from the rest of them, the Void is going to have like warehouses or like big shopping plazas and stuff. This is just going to be retrofitting movie theaters. So the idea here is you take a Cinemaplex, or a multiplex rather, that has like 20 screens, but it doesn't make a lot of money. Take 2 of those screens out. Level the stadium seating, take out all the chairs, remove the screen, take out the projector, and just put down a floor. And on top of that floor, you get things shipped to you every 90 days that are basically Lego pieces. So here's where the railings go, put the chairs here, all that kind of stuff, and then eventually, you get the people there, they line up, they do their 15 to 20 minute experience for $15 to $20. I don't know if Nomadic's going to be doing single or multiple person experiences like the Void does. For Ghostbusters, they had 3 people at a time, and I'm sure they're working on 4 and even more than that. But they got some big people working at this company too. People with experience in the industry at ILM, Disney, EA, Activision. So they got a good just mix of people from video gaming, like
say, it
CG.
sounds like a good idea. So yeah,
it sounds like a
makes
really good
sense
idea.
That's coming from a good place.
Like more so than the Void, because the Void, like I said, is like a full-on VR arcade where they have to get a lease on the land and build from scratch and have a parking lot. This is just taking, media entity that isn't working and making it better, or even better yet, even if it's a theater that's really popular, that's even a better fit. Because if you look at something like IMAX's VR arcade that they have in LA, that's not this. That's here's a chair, maybe here's a walk-in room, here's your headset, do the thing. Like, there's nothing special about it. The thing that's special about it is that there's nothing else like it in the area or really in the country. The Void is going to trump that. The other one that I can't remember the name of, which is competing with the Void, similar. But this is like taking what already works or doesn't work and just taking it to the future. They're going to be looking into opening venues later this year. Pretty sure New York and LA are guarantees. Maybe somewhere in Texas, Vegas perhaps. We'll update you maybe if the show actually goes to 100 episodes when that's going to be. But I would definitely go and experience one of these if it's around me, especially if the price point is right. And if I would assume if they're doing the same thing IMAX does, where they actually have show times and you have to buy the tickets in advance, it'd be cool, man. Anything like this is a way for more people to understand VR. Because Google Cardboard, and as much as I love my PSVR, it's not really the real thing. Like, when you have an experience like this where you have to pay the money on a a la carte basis, you're able to experience something at the forefront of the technology. Like, this is where people get interested. This is why people fund it, and it gets market share. Versus when it's at home, different kind of thing. It's not exciting. Really not exciting. And talking about not exciting, here's something in particular. So last week, we were talking about the Passengers VR experience, which is on Oculus and HTC Vive. And I was like, why isn't this on PSVR? Still isn't on PSVR. Who knows when? But Sony was secretly working on something all along. The Void had their Ghostbusters thing that we just talked about. They have a different Ghostbusters thing, and this is only on PSVR as of now. It's available.
They're still putting money into that.
Yeah, well, of course. They're making an animated movie, and they're probably going to make a sequel, and God knows what else, maybe a TV show, like, who knows.
Was it linked directly to the movie from last year?
No. This is a standalone entity. You even have Slimer in it.
Okay.
But yeah, this is available right now. I'm definitely not going to buy it. It's $6 and only lasts 15 minutes, even worse than that. It's the first part in a multi-chapter entity. It's called something like Ghostbusters VR for the Open for Hire, I think it's called.
It's kind of cool, though, that VR is working that way right now. They're kind of like old serials.
It's sort of, yeah. Like,
in a
that
way,
is
that
cool.
sounds cool.
But this is $6 for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's steep. And this isn't a game. This is, I did it once, I'm over it. So unless they release more chapters, like once a month would be cool. Unless they release them all together, like say there's like 7 of them, so then you're getting like an hour and a half experience and it costs $30. Unless they do something like that where it's like a season pass where you can bundle it together, I'm not buying this fucking thing. I buy a lot of VR stuff for my PlayStation. I'm not interested in this.
Well, because it's such it's new tech, so of course it's going to be overpriced right now. At some point, it'll be reasonable.
When I was buying my Lego Dimension
stuff, like a Black Friday deal, I'm sure they'll have something.
When I was buying my Lego Dimension stuff, I bought 2 different Ghostbusters sets. So I already gave Sony money for this. I saw Ghostbusters in 3D, you know? Like, they got my money for the Ghostbusters IP. They're not getting it for this one. And also, all the reviews say that it's pretty shitty, too. Not in terms of the actual experience itself, but just in terms of when you finally get the hang of it and you're like, oh, this is going to be awesome, it literally ends.
Well, give it a few more chapters. It could get there.
Yeah, but as of yet, this isn't...
Yeah, $15 for that.
Yeah, this isn't the way right now to do VR. We want full things that you can do, not like a teaser. But like I said, if
the price point was like a season pass, maybe that would be a good way of building it up.
When they put out the next one, you know, hopefully it's like you can buy this one for $6 also, or you can buy both for $10. You know, if they do something like that. But we don't know. This was a surprise release. Literally, this past Tuesday, they just put it out, and I was reading on the PSVR subreddit, and everyone's like, yeah, they were like, oh yeah, like this is the thing, go check it out. And then someone else was like, no, don't check it out. Like I watched a review, I was like, oh yeah, I'll pass. I'm gonna pass on that. The final little piece of VR news we got before we get to the headlines is about Oculus because hey, they're stupid. So HTC has continued to add support for other VR headsets. We were talking, I think it was like 2 weeks ago, about how some Vive technology, Vive experiences / games are going to be coming their way to PlayStation VR. On top of that, if you have HTC Vive, you can use like Oculus games and stuff that way, but it doesn't go backwards. I take that back. If you have an Oculus headset, you can use HTC games through Steam VR, but not the other way around. And then even to show more support, HTC is going to include Oculus in its line of apps. Vive Video, which is like a 3D 360 VR marketplace basically for videos, is going to be adding Oculus support this week, even for their touch controllers, which just came out. And if Facebook doesn't go in line with everyone else where it's like a mutual understanding, a new marketplace, like early adopters, we got to show their support because we're at a year now. Oculus and HTC came out a year ago, okay? Mm-hmm. If Facebook doesn't do this, if Oculus doesn't start playing nice, I think it's going to be the slow death of their VR before they even put out the Facebook VR headset, which they're planning big time. Because, you know, we've talked a lot about exclusivity and how sad that is in VR at its nascency. But then even worse than that is really like just the idea, if you buy, you know, a PlayStation VR or HTC Vive or even Google Cardboard, if it's not a Gear VR or an Oculus Rift, you can't use you can't use any of their many exclusive things, which is really stupid. I get it, like that's how you get your stockholders happy. That's how you get more money. But at the same time,
not so much for consumers.
Yeah, for us, for the us out here that actually buy the stuff and like talking about it, I don't want an Oculus headset now. Why would I? Like, even if I had the computer run it, even with the $200 price drop, I don't want one. Why the fuck would I want one?
And you're happy with what you got at this point.
I'm happy with what I got.
Yeah.
Respect me and my decision to buy something else and give me the things that you're putting behind a paywall. Super Hot VR, I would very much so like to play that. Robo Recall, definitely want to play that. The Suicide Squad experience, I want to do that. Like, but I can't. That's right. I'm not allowed to for some reason. I'm not allowed to because I'm not giving Facebook money, which is the silliest thing. Like, it's kind of like how back in the day, which people probably forgot about, when Instagram was only on iOS. Once upon a time, if you didn't have an iPhone, you couldn't use Instagram. If you think about that now, how stupid how stupid would Facebook be to do that? Oh, they are that stupid because they're doing it with virtual reality. Like, I understand maybe it's like a year one thing. Maybe by the time Oculus Connect 3 happens next year, 4 happens next year, they're going to go, We're open to everyone, guys.
Then
Hey.
again, Android might make it difficult, which I doubt. But
No,
I don't know. Maybe
it
for all I know.
has nothing to do with that. It's
No.
strictly because the Samsung runs on an Android operating system. It has nothing to do with that. This is strictly we want all of the spoils. We want all of the money. If you're not with us, you're against us. Don't be stupid. And because they have that mentality, like I said, I think that, Facebook isn't going to fail, but I do think that their VR arm is, or has the potential to, especially after the ZeniMax trial, after the Trump thing that happened. Like, I don't know. Like, it can't be good to be in Oculus Land currently. It must suck to work for them, to be honest. Like, I can't imagine what that's like. Can't imagine. It's like, where do you want to work? You want to work at Sony? You want to work for Steam? You want to work for Valve, or do you want to work for Facebook? I would not want to do that. It's like, watch Silicon Valley. Hulu is 100% Facebook, like, without a doubt. They don't pull punches. Hey, look, it's another break for the headlines. We could pitch something else again. We could do that. We could totally do that. Maybe not incense. Maybe not knives. I got a stress ball in my hand. Do you sell stress balls that have, like, Donald Trump's face on it? Our listeners could know. They would probably buy that. TrumpBalls.com. Not porno, I swear.
I don't tell him that if he goes against us on Twitter, then we lose listeners.
I voted for you, dude. Don't go against me. Don't go against me. He's busy playing golf. He's not listening. Here's the
Yeah,
headlines.
he's at the White House this weekend.
Is
Or
he?
was, actually, yeah.
He doesn't even live there. So
Yeah, that was breaking news. Trump stayed home to work.
He's.
I'm not kidding. That's basically how it was. Like,
Yeah.
Trump stays at the White House to work on the weekend. That's breaking news.
It must suck to be in the real news. I'm so happy I don't do that. So here's one of the headlines this week. It's kind of interesting. MGM has finally found a new distribution partner. Any guesses who it is? Oh, you read the notes already. You fucking cheated.
I browsed them. Okay, so it's not Sony.
No.
Is it Fox? Because they got a home video deal.
Think smaller screen.
Oh boy. Lionsgate.
Smaller screen.
I give up.
Much smaller. Snapchat. So MGM is the first major studio to team with Snap, and they're going to be doing basically TV programming in the 5 to 7 minute runtime on the vertical integrated, not vertical integrated, on the vertical format, which is kind of interesting. And they have a good IP library that this could actually work instead of having to spend lots and lots of money on a movie and then spend money on lose money via getting it distributed. So who knows if this is going to work or not. But this is just proof that Netflix last week, when we were talking about pan and scan, I looked up the correct term. When it's vertical instead of a landscape format, it's called tilt and scan, which makes sense.
That's worse.
Yeah, so this is proof that tilt and scan is totally going to become a thing. Because why wouldn't
TNS.
it? Why wouldn't it at this point? Related to this too is Turner paid for the first live 360-degree ad on Snapchat this week. I think it happened Thursday. It was it was a red carpet event, which was tied to one of the shows that they have. And in true form to the medium, it only lasted for the 45 minutes or so that it aired, and then it disappeared completely. I'm sure they have a record of it somewhere, but it did not stay. You could not replay this. Maybe it'll show up on YouTube eventually or on Facebook, but as of right now, yeah, it's gone, which is cool. Like, I hope that MGM does something similar with their branding, and also eventually that, like, the Jimmy Fallon Show and all of the other Viacom entities that have Snapchat content, that they do the same thing, because it would make it more of a big deal when you actually watch it if you're watching it live, and that would also work for tracking and all kinds of stuff. Because it shouldn't be treated like a Snapchat story. It should be treated like its own thing, I believe. But who knows? Yeah, MGM apparently does. We were talking about Disney earlier, Bob Iger, Marvel, Star Wars, and how that's kind of going. This is about them and them being bastards. So they're currently in the midst of a lawsuit over their habitual thievery of ideas for their films. If you didn't know, Disney has never created anything on their own, not even Mickey Mouse. And so, maybe that's harsh. I'm sure they created one or two things along the way.
Disney himself.
Yeah, Disney, not Pixar.
Yeah.
Disney. Maybe they've created one or two things. Anyway, the main plaintiffs here is saying that Disney stole Zootopia from him I forget his first name, but his last name is Goldman. He pitched something literally titled Zootopia in both 2000 and 2009, and he was turned down on both accords. He claims that the name, story, characters, and even lines of dialogue are his, and Disney, of course, because they're Disney, is saying, this guy's crazy. No, we told him no. We would never do that, and no one cares. I hope they're...
That's not out of the realm of plausibility, but of course...
No one cares, yeah. And they probably own the judges, too. And probably his lawyer.
Should have registered the script with the WGA or a treatment or something.
I hope that this is real. I hope that they're found guilty, and I hope that this kind of changes their public perception, because they are viewed as the creator of all the classics. Like, if you ask the average person, I'm not talking about a kid, if you ask someone like who's 30 years old, who created Beauty and the Beast, they would say Disney. They'd be like, no, who created the original Beauty and the Beast? You're talking about the one from the 90s? That was Disney too. Like, they would definitely say Disney. Like, if you ask someone who created Snow White, they would say Disney. And there's a reason for that. It's because they own the copyright to basically all these properties. And
and they make great versions of these things,
yeah, they do.
But they're not the original creators. Like
I said, even Mickey Mouse technically isn't the original, because that's like Disney. That's like a complicated story, but basically Walt Disney used to be distributed his animated projects by Universal, and he had a project called
Oswald the Lucky Rabbit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean,
which is basically
he
Mickey
created
Mouse.
Mickey as like
a fuck you
as
to
a backup,
Oswald,
right? So technically,
Mickey Mouse is the
it's
only
created by him,
original.
right?
Yeah, Mickey Mouse is essentially like the only.
And Donald and Goofy and Minnie and Pluto.
All of the
and...
characters that actually don't get anything done with them anymore outside of video games. When's the last time Mickey Mouse was on the big screen, or on the small screen for that matter? It's really
Get a
weird.
Horse, which was the short that played before Frozen. Did you ever see it?
No, because I didn't see Frozen in theaters.
Oh well, I don't know. It's
but they put out a Mickey short.
There's a thing on Netflix now where I guess they have a bunch of shorts compilated, but yeah, that one was really cool because it was like an old style.
It's kind of like the Peanuts movie from last year.
No, like it basically it starts at an old ratio and it's in black and white, and then it just keeps expanding, goes like into widescreen, and then goes with 3D, and then literally gets into a point where you see a movie theater screen within that movie theater screen, and they go outside of it and they just push the boundaries of cinema within it. It's a lot of fun.
I'll have to look into that. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's a really I'm pretty sure if Netflix might still have it, they might have a compilation of shorts, but it's really well done.
Even still, why haven't we got a feature-length Mickey Mouse movie in like 50 years, 70 years? I think Fun and Fancy Free might have been the last one.
Yeah, with Mickey and the Beanstalk.
And that's not even a real Mickey Mouse movie, because like a quarter of that is live
Mickey
action.
Mouse is a character. It's like I don't know if you can explore that. Like it.
It's weird, right?
Why would you want to really like?
Well, you got Mickey Mouse, you got Donald, Goofy.
Figure, but...
You got Goofy. The Goofy movie got a sequel.
Yeah.
Goofy was on the big screen more recently than Mickey Mouse.
Extreme, man.
That is
wasn't
insane.
That one straight to DVD?
Yep, not the Goofy movie didn't though.
The sequel, yeah, like
the first Goofy movie, '96 or whatever. That was a big screen
Disney,
treatment.
Though, like that's not Disney. That's
it was Disney.
It was like Disney Toons or something, you know.
Even still, it got a theatrical release.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like DuckTales is getting a resurgence right now. That's being remade currently. Where's Mickey at? I know, yeah, like he's in Kingdom Hearts, whatever. But like outside of like the little video games that Mickey gets to be in, he's never anywhere. Like I loved I'm not even a big Mickey Mouse fan, but I loved watching House of Mouse because that was a fun show. We're having a ball, we're gonna shake the house. We're having a ball, the House of Mouse. Like just the idea of what if Mickey Mouse ran a nightclub, and all of the characters came, and the villains even, and they all hung out, and they had their shenanigans, and yet it's like Mickey doing the Kermit role of the Muppet Show.
I would love it if Disney got a new logo, because at this point it's about time, and I would love it if it's Mickey Mouse and not the fucking castle.
I fucking hate the castle.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of like the newest logo that they had now, which it was funny because
it looks
they
good
picked
in
Pirates
3D.
of the Caribbean to put that
the live action 3D
out.
one, yeah.
Yeah, which they've re-rendered it for 3D for some ones. They do some cool custom ones as well, but yeah,
the 3D looks.
I do miss the blue background and just like
the original
that music.
one, yeah. The
Yeah, well,
old.
which hey, we grew up with that one, so there's a nostalgia
Everyone
bias
grew
there.
up
But
with that
yeah,
one. Like that, I'm pretty sure that's the one that originated maybe all the way back in
it
Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Like,
no, 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 because that was an RKO flick. That logo, it came out around the 80s, and that's the screwy thing about Disney Blu-ray releases is that they update the logo. Like, if you get the Lion King, you're gonna get or Beauty and the Beast, you're gonna get the fucking new Disney logo or the modern one that we have now, which I really hate that that they do that.
almost dead. I was gonna say I kind of feel like putting in my UMD copy of Tron and figuring out which one it has.
I
Because that
I
was
think
two,
it
that
no,
was like
I
a
think it
2006 2007 release.
I think it just has a black background and then a green Disney logo on there. It's weird because sometimes they preserve it if the movie starts off in a unique way, but
Uh-huh.
like it's weird. Like Bambi for that one, they took out the RKO logo and they just have they have the Disney logo, but it's a still of it, the new one that we have now, and you just get that for a few seconds and then it just fades out and goes into the titles for that movie. So it's weird. You have this old music from the 40s with a new Disney logo and it's like final 10 seconds of it just sitting there with no movement. But
Like I understand
yeah, I don't know why they do
I
that. Like, I really
understand
hate that.
Sleeping Beauty's castle because if you go to any Disneyland, they have the castle. It's in the center of the park. It's the big attraction for some fucking reason. And it's an iconic image. Like I
Yeah.
get it, but at the same time, like yeah, it would be cool if you got something kind of like the Pixar logo with Mickey Mouse involved. Like where is Mickey Mouse? Like that was the beginning of Disney. Like Disney is what it is because of Steamboat Willie, of of the beginning of the talkie animated short slash feature film. Like without Mickey Mouse, there would not be this franchise. And yet now, like I said, if it's not a video game, it's the furry character at the theme park that you can get a picture taken with.
Yeah.
It's and also like, can you imagine if Warner Brothers didn't use Batman? That's kind of what's going on right now. Like like where if
There
Marvel
might be a
didn't use
point where they don't really
Spider-Man.
use it because it won't be that big of a trend. But yeah, there's just no interest in Mickey right now or those classic characters. There definitely could be someday.
Like I said,
Like
DuckTales,
Warner doesn't really use the Looney Tunes that much.
they should. I
They have
did.
they have a show on Cartoon Network,
Yeah,
but
like I was talking about that Boomerang app the other episode. I downloaded it. It's kind of in beta right now. I deleted it already. It's missing a lot of stuff. It does have Looney Tunes and it has a lot of it, but it's not like every episode. It's like a greatest hits compilation. But even still, kind of cool. But yeah, but Looney Tunes, you see, they did Space Jam. They did Back in Action, like that. Those weren't too far past. Mickey
Mhm.
Mouse is like 3 times as long as those have been. Like Space Jam came out when a Goofy movie came out. Like at this point, we're kind of like due for a Donald Duck film, to be honest. Even though I wouldn't, who would want to watch that?
No, kids want Zootopia 2 and Frozen 2, and they don't.
Do kids even
I
know
don't
who
think they
Mickey
care
Mouse is
about.
anymore?
I don't think they care.
I don't think it's that they don't care. I think it's just that
I mean,
Disney.
we didn't really get that stuff, but we got we had commercials like with those characters all
No,
the
like,
time. Like we always knew
well,
who they
I
were.
mean, you've seen my VHS Disney collection. Like, I saw
Yeah,
Fantasia and Fun Fancy Free, and
that's right.
like I said, I watched House of Mouse and some like other Mickey Mouse stuff on TV, and I grew up playing the Kingdom Hearts games. Like there was enough Mickey Mouse that I knew who he was. Like I had a
Yeah, like,
puppet at some point. I think it's on like bed
I'm sure
sheets.
that they know who he is because they.
I might not even like the fucking dude, but I got a Mickey Mouse picture in my bedroom. Okay, um, like even
You got a
still,
lot of stuff that you don't like in your life, man.
I guess, but
You might have to rethink some things.
it's
Just
troubling.
saying.
They should bring him back, like in a big way. The whole group, like just all of them. Give them a movie, make it hand drawn animation, or even better yet,
Oh man, I
do a
would love it if they reopened that studio.
even if
Like,
they did a contemporary animated, kind of like I don't know if you saw the Captain Underpants trailer, but
yeah,
like
yeah.
that kind of animation is the same animation as Sky Blue Sky did. I mean, Blue Sky Blue. Which one is it? Sky Blue Sky.
For Blue Sky, yeah.
Yeah.
For Charlie Brown,
Yeah,
it worked.
yeah. For that Peanuts
Or
movie,
Peanuts, sorry.
for this Captain American movie, Captain Underpants movie,
Captain
like the
Underpants.
way that it looks, how 2D animation does in a three-dimensional plane, totally work for Mickey Mouse. Make it work, please, guys.
Yeah.
Come on, Disney, fucking assholes. We're going to be talking about Disney being villains in just another second, too. Um, this is a running topic on the show because it's important. Studios are in ongoing negotiations with exhibitors over how the current home video system can change the window for theatrical releases and how long it takes for people at home to watch films. And with CinemaCon going on this week, this is hopefully going to be coming to a close soon. And every studio wants something different, and that's because studios aren't allowed to talk to each other because that's like
Collusion.
yeah, that's anti-trade regulation. So they have to talk
Price fixing.
to other exhibitors, and they have to relay information and insider conversations and leaks and stuff to really talk. Everyone wants something different. It's like Universal wants early access. They want you to be able to watch their movies, kind of like how VOD works. How either the day and date as theater, or even like a week before that at home, you can watch their movie. Warner Brothers wants to do like $30 as their price points, and you can do it. You can watch it at home as soon as theaters start not showing certain films on screens. So let's say like Justice League, when it dips to below 900 screens, then it's at home. Okay, Disney doesn't want anything to do about it at all, because why would they? They got the fucking Disney movies, they got Pixar, they got Star Wars, they got Marvel.
Park.
Every movie, I mean, every month, basically.
Theme parks, plural.
Every month, they essentially have a big movie, so they don't need the home video window to shrink. But everyone's part of this in the same way that, outside of them, everyone is part of this in the same way that the screening room, almost everyone was part of that. Like, they're trying to change the way things work because Netflix is a threat. When you can stay at home and watch all of these movies at once. And that's just talking about Netflix, not to mention Amazon Prime, and I don't know how many people use it, but Hulu, or like Film Crush, or like there's lots of different ways to stream movies nowadays. Even on YouTube, if you're talking about like the pay-to-play option, like Vudu, like you're just watching it that one time. And I think we do need a substantial change, because the main incentive here is to maximize word of mouth upon initial release and to save money. Because the way the current Hollywood system works is, let's get this huge marketing push months and months and months and months before the movie comes out, so people are excited about it for maybe even like a year or two. We're talking about Spider-Man at the beginning, the Venom movie. That's not coming out for a year and some change. You got to start it at the beginning. You keep on ramping it up. Then the movie comes out on the big screen, and then you don't talk about the movie for a couple of months. And then, hey, it's coming out on home video, guys. Let's ramp it up again. I want more billboards. I want more ads on YouTube. Let's get magazines. Let's get all of that. And so currently they have to pay twice to get people to care about a movie. And if you have this methodology, if you have it pretty much right when the theater run ends, like if you go big push, it's in theaters, let's say like 30 days later, it's at home, anyone that saw it, maybe not everyone, is still going to be talking about it to a certain extent, in the same way that people are still talking about Get Out, even though it came out about a month ago now.
Yeah, or like 6 weeks in, I think.
Yeah, so people are still talking about it.
That's still making money.
You're going to be able to utilize that word of mouth. There's still going to be certain billboards up. Magazines are still going to be on the stands, possibly. And you can save a lot of money, put that money into something else, potentially make Mickey Mouse movies, Like, you could use it in a different way, in a smarter way. And so I predict that there's not going to be a normalized window, that everyone is going to find their own thing that works. Like Sony, for instance, they have the PlayStation Network. They already have a built-in digital marketplace, so they don't need to find something that works. They can put it on their platform whenever they want, to be honest. They did it with the Interview. They went, hey, we're not going to put it in theaters, we're going to put it on PlayStation right now. We're going to put it on these other platforms too. Just go buy it.
Like Amazon had it, Vudu had it.
Everyone had it.
All the VOD services.
But even PlayStation had it. And so Sony, they're the strong ones here. Like Comcast got Fandango now, except you can't watch that on systems currently. Like video game systems, rather, it's computers or phones only. And you need to be on all three. You need to be on computers, you need to be on phones and tablets, and you have to be on video game consoles. You need to have a threshold in every type of media interface. And so, Warner Brothers, if they want that 30 days, they can do, that $30 after the screens dip, they can do it. I don't know. What about you? I think that it's going to be splintered, but it's going to find a way to work.
I think it will work, but I think, this is how you slowly kill the theatrical experience, at least as far as it being the one place where you can make the most money off of movies. That, yeah, they will have their own way of doing it, and then the theater will still be the one place where if you don't want to get confused or do it that way, then everyone can still go there, for people that don't care. But then once there is a fit way and then they're able to compile everything in one place and they got a system for it, that will slowly kill theaters. So
I don't think it's
yeah,
gonna.
it's a stepping stone for that.
I don't think
I think
theaters will ever die because that's where.
they won't die 100%, but
No,
they
no.
will
It's
get
because
less and less relevant.
it's like excluding the Nickelodeons and stuff. The movie theater is the birthplace of cinema. Like, you had to watch a movie on a big screen, not necessarily because, hey, we can cram all the people in and we can play it at
Okay,
once.
yeah, but the
But
days of having like uh, 10 multiplexes within a 15-mile radius close to
yes,
you,
that should die.
that's gonna die.
Like,
Yeah.
you don't.
Like, you're probably
it
gonna have one every 25
It
miles.
should die like that already, to be honest. It's a waste of
Yeah,
real
it's
estate.
getting there.
It's a waste of technology and money. It's not smart from even just the business standpoint. Like, think,
It
like,
it makes money here, man.
it shouldn't,
It makes
though.
money over there.
It-
Like,
it really
yeah, but
shouldn't.
that's how it is right now.
when you
Like,
have a
it'll definitely
26
get down
house
to that.
stadium, when you have that huge parking lot for that many screens, the fact
It
that
profits.
of course you get profits, but at the same time, it's like I have so many options in my city on what movie theater to go to. They're all different experiences. I avoid certain ones on purpose. If you have this competition now, it's like, oh, we want the reclining seats, we want reserved seating. In particular with Adam, which I used for my Power Rangers movie, which is kind of bullshit vertical integration because Lionsgate is a partner in Adam. Adam gave me a free ticket to see Power Rangers, so essentially Lionsgate gave me a free ticket for their movie that did second in the box office this week, which is kind of bullshit.
Lost to Disney.
Well, of course they're going to lose to Disney. They were always
Yeah.
going to lose to Disney. They knew that.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
knew that. $40 million is a lot of money for a franchise that should have died in the 90s. So, hey, pretty good money.
No, it's good. Yeah.
Pretty good money.
For $100 million movie, and if it has legs, then yeah, that's pretty good.
Even if it's really weird that there is no 3D release for a superhero
I
tentpole.
was, yeah, no, seriously, I was kind of pissed about that because
Real
I
pissed.
saw some ads and posters which evidently turned out to be fake or they're
Yeah,
doing it
nope,
internationally.
There's no 3D.
IMDb's got the thing listed in the technical specs that there's a 3D DCP out there, but
It's got to be Europe.
yeah, I was thinking like, you know what, this is one of the ones where for the few choices I make in 3D, like this is one where I'd love to do it, and then
it would have been good in
I
3D.
see Alamo doesn't have Showtime, so I'm like,
No one
shit,
has
are
it.
they just cutting it down to keep Beauty and the Beast on their 3D screens? Oh wait, nobody else doesn't have
No, it's
them either. What
stupid.
the fuck's going on?
I was kind of mad
Yeah,
about it.
like,
I want, like, when I was watching the whole time, I was like, that would be cool in 3D.
oh,
That would
man.
have been cool, and you don't get
I was
it.
looking at the trailers going like, yeah, I seriously would love to see like just the curves on screen for this, like
It's stupid.
to have it like dimensional and be layered. Like
On the plus
that's
side,
too bad, man.
Kong Skull Island, good 3D. Even if it's post-converted, good 3D.
Everything is post converted these days, man.
Most everything.
We rarely get native now. Like Ridley Scott is one of the last people doing it.
Bryan Singer, Ridley Scott, Disney to an extent. Like,
Well, no. They're captured with one camera, I think.
I mean, James Cameron,
When was the last time? Yeah, Peter Jackson.
Peter Jackson, Ang Lee.
Yeah,
There's a couple other ones.
yeah. No, they exist, but they're very rare now.
Yeah. Well, they were always
Like as far as native photography,
they
we
were
probably get, like,
always
2 or
rare
3 a year.
to be fair. It was always rare. But
No, there was a point like where right when it was booming after Avatar, we were getting a lot of native stuff as just as much shitty post convert stuff, but it was half and half at least.
good. I wish those days would come back. That'd be
Yeah,
good.
but people hated 3D
But
then.
no,
Or they were starting to.
I don't need as many movies. Like, okay, for instance, just jumping back to the VR thing.
Mhm.
If you shut down a movie theater, and it wouldn't hurt AMC if you shut down one of the AMC's near you. They got 2 other ones, okay, and you convert that into an AMC VR arcade. Perfect. You're helping out a new medium that needs to be done in an extravagant way, where it's going to become a thing about going to the movies. Used to be a big thing.
Mhm.
You would wear your best clothes to go to the movies. You'd bring your whole family and your hats and your shoes. You'd spend a lot of money on the food. And now, it's like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to take my phone out and start Snapchatting the movie. 9 times out of 10 when I go to a movie theater, I see that nowadays, which is
I don't
ridiculous.
see it at all.
It's fucking ridiculous.
I know.
It's horrible. It makes
I
me
know where.
not
Yeah.
want to go to the movies anymore. And people like me that are used to this kind of thing in an urban environment are gonna probably get to the point where they stop going. And so the studios have to figure out this home model before it gets to that point, because when you really think about it,
I think Draft House just needs to expand more and more
well,
because now
the
they're.
LA one's coming. It's taking too long.
Yeah. No, they got like 30 in the country right now, but there's 6 of them here in Austin.
I read this thing. I think maybe Film Crit Hulk tweeted it. Someone tweeted it. I can't remember. Most directors, if you ask them, like, oh, what are some of your favorite movies? Almost every movie they're going to list off, they saw at home on VHS. That's just the way it works. Like, most people saw their favorite movie either on cable or on VHS, like home media. Like, that's it. Like,
There was this thing on the for the Hollywood Reporter Roundtable, which I watch when they do those.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, they asked for Damien Chazelle and Barry Jenkins. Their experiences were different because they grew up largely seeing stuff like that, and so they
Yeah.
were talking about like like how just that experience and how like that influences you when you're younger. Like it is different.
the big
You know?
screen experience is not
Doesn't take away
sacred
anything from
for
it, but-
every movie. Some movies, yes. If it's a spectacle, something like Mad Max or Avatar or The Avengers, yes. A big screen is important, especially if it's shot in IMAX, or better yet, if it's in 3D, or if it has a Dolby
I think it's
Atmos
true of
track.
any genre, honestly. Like
No.
especially comedy. Comedy is probably
Yeah,
among
for,
the best
for an
theatrical
audience
experiences I've ever had.
experience, yes. But
Yeah.
a rom-com, like
A drama? Yeah, no, like
not
a drama.
a drama.
definitely.
No,
like,
really not a drama. Like,
yeah.
I think comedy and horror and the blockbuster are where it matters, and that's why we get those more than anything else. But something like a western, like, you don't need a big screen for that anymore. Like, they make like the musical, like you really don't. Like, it depends on the movie.
I,
Something
honestly,
animated.
I'm glad I saw La La Land in theaters.
I
instead
did
of my
too.
laptop.
Just the the aspect ratio of that film and how pretty it is. But at the same time, if you saw it at home, you wouldn't really miss anything. Like, it's still.
I disagree. It's really tough to articulate what that thing is, but I would not. If I was watching it at home, I would just turn off the TV. I see that in a theater in a dark room where that is the only thing that like my eyes can see for a while, and then I walk out of that theater. I walked out with a completely different feeling that like if I saw Love and Basketball in theaters and I was just there for 2 hours in a dark room and I surrendered to it, I guarantee you the feeling I would have had would have been far stronger than how it was at home.
Okay, but what if you were seeing La La Land and some kid behind you was kicking her seat? Or even better yet, some dude on his date had his feet pressed up against your headrest. Of course you'd be pissed.
Yeah, and that's a problem.
That happens
Absolutely.
all the time.
Yeah, and that sucks. I don't deal with that anymore. Sorry for you, man.
You're lucky, but most people do. If you go to a common theater, if you go to a multiplex, you are exposed to these kind of assholes that are literally going to kill the theater model. When I watch a movie at home, unless it's a spectacle or I'm in a theater where people know how to behave themselves, it is worse than seeing it at home. Especially when it comes to something like I did last week watching Step Up 3D within my PSVR headset. When I have a head-mounted display and there are literally zero distractions, not even my pet lizard or my phone vibrating or anything, when it is an absolute isolation tank, it is the perfect viewing experience. And if you can add, and they can add, a social element to that, where you feel like you're with an audience, where you can hear they're talking or they're laughing over microphones, and then you also have the option to mute everyone around you, which technology allows that kind of thing. You don't need it. You really don't. Because when you have a VR headset and the screen can be literally as big as you want, you can be in whatever seat you want to be, where someone standing up to go to the bathroom is not an issue, or someone dropping popcorn. You have to worry about your seat being uncomfortable. Like, when you get rid of all of those elements that used to be requisite for a theater-going experience, and you now have the power to be God in your own domain, it's a shittier way of going. I don't like going anymore. The reason I go is for the 3D. Or because I want to see it as soon as it's out. But if I had the choice, and it's not like a Marvel or a DC movie or, something like that, and it's not in 3D, I wouldn't care to pay like twice the amount to watch it at home. Why would I care? I know I'm not
It's
going to
a
have an
bummer to
issue.
hear, man.
I don't need to get parking. I don't have to worry about my car breaking down or getting gas. It's the same idea as why do you order things on Amazon when you can easily go to Target? You know? It's the comfort
Yeah.
of home. And we love being at home. Everyone loves it. You don't have to worry about
Yeah.
using your data plan. You don't have to worry about so many things. Fire alarms, even, when that happens when you're at a theater. When something weird happens. Better yet, here's a good idea. You don't have to worry about someone shooting you when you're at the movies. Like, it is a better form of escapism when you don't have to be with everyone else. Like, at the same time, like, there's a sad nature to it. Like, it's a slippery slope in that if you limit the amount of possibilities to go to the theater and you make it easier to enjoy these things at home, that, yeah, you start losing the sense of community, considering, you know, like, concerts and movie theaters are kind of like the last remnants of a true societal idea, or, you know, like, you know, live sports too. Like anything
Yeah.
live or like a theater experience, whether that be music or movies.
Anything that's communal.
Anything
Really.
communal, yeah. You know, like that's our last remnant in church too, to that fact, or school, of being like humane. But like going to the movies is just as bad as like sitting in rush hour traffic for me sometimes. In particular,
You
my
know,
Power Rangers experience.
I don't blame you, and I'm sorry that you have that experience. You know, that just isn't mine. So like, you know, and I'm not trying to gloat. It's just like, you know, as long as there like are places where people can be civil and respectful of each other, then like, you know, for me, then that's hope for humanity, like for sure, just in general. But like, yeah, just the fact that, yeah, like, you know, other people have to fuck it up for other people and can't be respectful, and like just make it so that you want to stay at home and not be around other people. I mean, that's just unhealthy in the long run, and that fucking sucks. And yeah, I don't blame you for it, but yeah, man, it sucks to hear.
Like I swear to God, like
Sorry.
it was such a weird, just theater going experiencing Power Rangers. I showed up earlier. I got my seat. I asked the kid who was sitting by himself, "Is that seat taken?" He said yes. Left my jacket, went to make a phone call, came back, and when I'm sitting there, you know, like everything started fine, and like I said, either one or two rows behind me, I'm sure the guy was literally mentally disabled. Like, I don't know what he had. Maybe he was autistic, something, or he was just an asshole. Like, you could just tell by like the way his voice sounded. Like his voice, like the things he was saying, it seemed like he was 13, except he was probably like 20 something. And like they would say something on screen and be like, "Yeah!" And it's one thing if it's like everyone at once in the theater. It's another thing if it's a single person. And then, like I
Yeah.
said, there was someone in the front row on their phone for literally like 5 to 10 minutes. Not like putting it away, taking it out, like on their phone. Like it was so bad that after like a couple of minutes of it, at a tone that is past talking, like I didn't yell it, but just about, I went, "Hey, everyone up here can see your phone," and she didn't put her phone away. The guy next to me, the dad whose seat was saved by his kid, was like, "Hey, you want to throw some milk, Dud?" And I was like, "No, because someone has to clean those up, and that used to be me." But then there's like the opposite of that. There was a kid next to me who couldn't read yet, so his older sister was reading the subtitles for him. That's okay. Except at the same time, I had someone reading subtitles next to me,
Yeah.
which is like,
Oh, now I know that there are subtitles.
I was like, what the fuck is going on right now? This is not, like, I didn't do it because, you know, I'm not that kind of person, but I was holding my knife on me. I had my new knife on me.
Oh my
And-
god, dude, don't even think that.
Yeah, no,
Don't
I
even
like,
think that. Come on.
for like a minute there when that dude was yelling at the screen every couple of minutes, I thought about taking it out and telling him to shut the fuck up.
Oh, jeez.
And I didn't pay for this movie.
As long as you think it and you don't do it.
No, I said I'm not
But,
thinking. I
yeah.
didn't do it.
Yeah, people
I-
can inspire shitty thoughts
I
like that.
didn't pay for this movie. Remember that. I got a free ticket. I didn't have work. I had work off. Free ticket. Day off from work. And I was that upset. If I had paid the $16, I would have been pissed. Like, I was thinking about leaving the theater, grabbing an usher, and telling them to do a check in a couple of minutes. And try to kick a couple of people out the theater. Like, I was almost at that point. It was that bad. Like, this was...
I would have bailed.
This
at
was
that
the
point,
worst
honestly.
theater experience I'd had since I saw Age of Ultron, and I had literal groups of kids running in
jeez.
front of me. It was bad. And these are the kind of groups
Sorry,
that
man.
show up for these kind of movies in urban environments. And these kind of experiences in the moment make me go, do I really want to make movies? Do I really want to talk about movies as a livelihood? Better yet, do I really want to come to the theater anymore? And so
You got to go see movies in better places,
I
man,
generally
really.
do go to theaters in better places. Like, this isn't a common occurrence. Like, the theater that I saw the Age of Ultron at, I
Hmm.
generally don't go there anymore. The theater that I went to for Power Rangers, I almost never go there either. This was like an exception. It was the only theater my free ticket worked at for some reason. My Cinemark that I go to, almost always good crowd. There's like
That's good, man.
part of the thing is, and this is what's weird. It's like, once again, it's like a slippery slope. It's good and bad. I had a true theater going experience when I saw Power Rangers. I could hear people laughing at certain points and cheering. When it ended,
Hmm.
several people applauded, which I thought was weird, but hey, it happened. When I go to the Cinemark I go to, that doesn't happen. It feels isolated. It's I would say there was like probably 5 times as many people in my Power Rangers screening, and it wasn't the largest screen in the auditorium. I mean, in the theater.
Hmm.
To put that into perspective, like even the big screens at the Cinemark I go to, it just by the nature of the stadium seating and how much space the recliners take, you lose a lot of chairs. It's
Hmm.
not as communal. It doesn't have the same feeling to it. It's a premium experience.
Hmm.
And I don't know. For Power Rangers, I don't. It's not like the movie would have been better. I would have forgot that I was in a theater, which is fucking stupid. That's
Yeah,
even an
well,
issue.
sorry, man.
No, it'll get better. I'll be at home soon. In VR, mind you. I know you like Voodoo. I know you're all about in Ultraviolet and your digital collection.
I'm not all about it. It's just that's really the only place for it, you know.
It's easy. I'm
Yeah,
sure
and
you've.
they have good 1080p HDX streaming.
It's like you've. I'm sure you've done the thing where you take your DVD or Blu-ray and put it in your
Yeah,
computer
yeah,
and
I've done
convert
it.
it. So they just changed the way that works this week, and it's actually kind of
Hmm.
cool. Um, they've made it digital now. So if you have their smartphone app, you can take a picture of the UPC code on your Blu-ray or DVD, and you can get a digital copy. Of course,
Nice.
there's a catch. The catch is that you have to be at the GPS coordinates of your home mailing address, which is part of the app. And that way you can't go to Walmart and take a picture of every fucking Blu-ray and get a digital copy.
Yeah.
And then also the price points are exactly the same as they are currently. So if you have a DVD for $2, you can get a standard definition copy. If you have a Blu-ray for the same $2, you can get the HD copy. And if you have a DVD and you want to upconvert it to HD, it costs $5. There's over 8,000 titles currently that work with the app. And once again, Disney is not part of it. Um, I read something that if you do this for the first time, it's free. So I might try that. Hi, let me try that right now. Let me open the app. 'Cause I have the app installed. I'm curious, actually.
Yeah, I mean, have you done any of those with disc to digital at all? Or
No,
no?
I know how it
Yeah.
works. I saw it in the app, and I was like, because
Well, it's kind of if you do, I think 10, then you get 50% off, and so I've done that a few times. Like, and it's actually pretty cool because if you do 10 Blu-rays, then they're only $5 each.
it was convoluted. Because
Not each, $5
I
altogether
was
for 10 titles.
I was looking at it, and I don't think my computer works because it has to be Windows or something fucking stupid. I was like, okay, so I'm not gonna do it then.
Yeah.
It actually looks like I don't remember my password because that is the way things work when they make you put capital letters and numbers
Yeah,
and
I
lowercase and
seriously.
punctuation and
And they all
they
have
make
different requirements
and they
that you
make
can't keep
you
track.
change it every couple of months in case you get hacked and
That's frustrating because especially when you're paying bills, you know.
yeah, I hate it.
Yeah.
It's like I would say I forget my passwords like at least once a year. And it's horrible.
Well, it's like I remember the words. It's just the numbers and the symbols arrangement. It's always a mess.
Yeah, I can't do it. They locked me out. I tried
Yeah.
too many times. So I'll try some other time. But yeah, so Disney isn't doing Voodoo. They're not
Of course.
doing the faster home window. They're not going to pay people for stealing their ideas. But they will keep the same CEO because he's making them lots of money.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
No, it is broke. They need to fix it. That's what I'm saying. Like the only way,
No, they're making
it's
money.
like
It's not breaking.
di-
That to them, it
the
ain't
fact
broke.
that everyone uses ultraviolet except Disney because they use Disney movies anywhere.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of broken.
Now they're making money from it, so not really.
Yeah, but
It's just, it sucks for us.
ultraviolet's ubiquitous. Disney movies anywhere is not.
Well, you can connect that to Voodoo. So
can, yeah,
Can't put
that's-
them all in the same place. But then, yeah, it is irritating. Like, what I would love is if Amazon would make it so that I could put my UV collection on there. But then at the same time, that means Amazon literally owns everything.
No.
Or is one more step closer to that.
That wouldn't be bad. I mean, it would be cool if you, because I was reading that this is something that Walmart does. If you buy certain movies at Walmart, you get a free Vudu copy of it, which is cool. That's a cool idea. Amazon,
Yeah, no, they have that like on 4-packs and stuff standing there where you get the copy
Yeah.
of it with that.
if Amazon did the same thing, you buy a DVD from Amazon, you get an Amazon video copy. That'd be awesome.
Uh-huh.
But they can't do that. And the reason they can't do that is because, I don't know, they can't do it. They don't want to do it. But they could easily do that. The final piece of the show is about YouTube, and it's the last one because it's the one that I know the least about. I'm kind of spitballing here. But they've been subject to a couple things this week. They're kind of in hot water, which happens Google every couple of months because that's what happens when you're one of the biggest companies on the planet. The first has to do with money. Tons of advertisers are currently pulling ad spots out of fear that they are being shown before hate speech videos. This is mostly in the EU and the UK. It's funny that you got to say that nowadays. But also in the US to a certain extent. I know like Johnson & Johnson, and that's the big one that I remember. But it's a lot of big corporations that put ads on YouTube. And the idea is that one or two videos with people that are like, hey, fuck niggers, fuck this, fuck spics, like those were being, their ads were being shown before those kind of videos, which is really stupid in the first place because like Google has really good algorithms that play where it recognizes that kind of stuff and doesn't advertise at all. And so I don't even know why they're afraid in the first place. And like it doesn't even matter because it's something like a third of the world's connected humans access YouTube on a daily basis. Like,
when you go on there anyway, there's going to be an ad pretty much no
yeah,
matter what.
but like
Like, it's nice now when you just don't get it.
literally like 1 billion people visit YouTube every day and watch hundreds of millions of hours of content. Like, it really doesn't matter. But then the thing that's even more stupid, but this is like just, hey, look, hey, we're PC. I guess several LGBTQ videos were shown as restricted, which is a flag that only users decree, not Google, not Alphabet. This is just users, which was blocking these videos from being viewed by users that weren't signed in to YouTube. So the idea here is someone saw some video maybe about like what it's like to be a lesbian in the city or whatever. I don't know.
And it offended some uppity Christian
Yeah.
person in middle America.
Yeah, they were like, I don't want my kids
Yeah.
to watch this. I'm pressing restricted. Someone else did it. Someone else did it. And now that content is behind a brick wall. If you aren't signed, if, like, one, you're on a minor account and your parents can control what you view, or two, if you're not signed into your Google account in the first place. Like, that's the only way it's an issue. And yeah, it was an issue. In the same way that, no, I don't even want to talk about that because you want to see Power Rangers. But there's like a similar.
Well, I know about it, and you know, like that was the thing with Beauty and the Beast, where someone. You
oh
know,
my
like,
God, there's
brought
gay
up, like-
character.
yeah, and then with Power Rangers, there's literally like, oh, you know, you didn't make a big deal out of it, you just put it there. All right, cool. It's not like the biggest fucking deal in the world. Just do it.
However,
you
it's
know?
like not even in the movie. What is in the movie? This is the weird part. It's like they're having like a campfire conversation, and she's like, "Yeah, all my boyfriend problems," and they're
Well, now I know who it is.
whatever, and they're like, "Oh, your boyfriend problems," and then someone else looks at her like, "Wait, you mean your girlfriend problems?" And there isn't a yes or no, and it's kind of like left vague that, "Oh yeah, you might be a lesbian."
That's
However,
all right. Well,
however, the Blue Ranger literally in conversation
don't
goes,
spoil it. Don't spoil
No,
it.
this has nothing to do with the movie. He literally goes, I'm on the autistic spectrum. And no one said anything about that in any of the media.
Yeah, they brought up autism.
Barely.
I heard about that.
On Twitter, I was seeing, hey, one of the Rangers is queer. They put a Disney movie out and a Power Ranger movie out in the same week, and there's gay characters. It's like, yeah, but they made an autistic superhero.
It was brought up.
That's a way bigger deal, people.
Yeah, well, I have not seen the movie yet. Like, it's just
Neither of the points matter. that someone's
Yeah.
gay or that someone's on the spectrum.
It's
It
just
doesn't
like,
matter.
okay, it's there. You get representation there, but like, don't make the biggest fucking deal about it in the world. Like, unless, hey, if for you it's important, then by all means. But like,
It's not important. Not
no,
even.
I mean, for someone, it might personally mean something for them, and for that, hey, right on.
It
You know,
might. Like, yeah,
yeah,
if that dude in my
it's like
screen,
that. I get
like,
it.
put it this way, if the guy that was watching the movie that couldn't shut up was on the autistic spectrum, which is a possibility, and he saw
Hmm.
the Blue Ranger, said he was on the spectrum, and he cheered about that, that's cool. I get it. But what's also cool is that theaters have autism friendly screenings on like Monday mornings where they leave the lights on and you can talk as much as you want with everyone and it's not an issue.
Yeah.
It's a bigger issue when you go on a Saturday night for a big movie, opening weekend, and you brought the person to the movie and you didn't put a t-shirt on him that said, "Hey, you can't control his mouth." And you don't apologize to everyone in the screening. When you go, "Hey, can you be quiet, please?" Like, no, nothing happened. It's a fucking issue. If you liked our news coverage, we do a lot of other shows, most notably Debt to Cinema, which we'll talk in a second, but also Dollar Reviews, which are spoiler-free, no recaps of recent releases, which we're trying to leverage with Penny Thoughts and also do more streaming stuff so we can do it on a weekly basis. Last week we did Camera Person, which is a documentary on Amazon Prime. It's also part of the Criterion Collection. And next week we're going to be doing The Tribe, which I don't know much about, but apparently is a documentary about deaf and mute
No, it's
people.
not. It's not a
No?
documentary. It's a narrative feature. Like I've
I said I
been.
know nothing about it.
Well, this would have been a Death Cinema pick maybe like months down the line. Like for some time I've been thinking I kind of want to get more experimental, and like this is a film from Ukraine that. Here's the deal. It's entirely in sign language, but there's no subtitles, and the scenes are all shot in unbroken takes, and apparently it's really good. So it's a risk, and I hope it's interesting to talk about because it sounds fucking fascinating, and it definitely it's like a true silent film, like at least based on how it's described, in that you're not really you just have the visuals. There's no talking, and you don't get title cards.
If there's not a
So,
sex scene, I'm going to say it's a bad movie. Forewarning.
just look at the poster. I promise you, there's a sex scene.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
Some other stuff that we've done recently. We did Logan. We do most of the superhero stuff. So even though I saw Power Rangers this week and I saw Lego Batman a couple of weeks back, we didn't do episodes for those. But hey, whatever. We try. Suicide Squad though, Batman vs Superman, Doctor Strange, Captain America. We did Avengers: Age of Ultron. We're definitely going to be doing Spider-Man: Homecoming if Steve doesn't know it. Episode 8 later this year. Ghostbusters, even we did one of those. In terms of like more acclaimed things, we did one for Paul Verhoeven's Elle. We did La La Land, Green Room, Swiss Army Man, Sing Street. Most of those appeared. Every one of those is on my best of year list, so you can check that out also. And then, like I said, we do Debt Cinema. That's our semi-topical list of shame show, where every week either Steve or I or the both of us cross something off our list of things that we should probably watch. This is at the top of the show. This Wednesday, we got The Fly coming out. That's the remake by Cronenberg. We have the original, the Vincent Price movie, coming out next Wednesday. We also did the original Father of the Bride and A Guy Named Joe, which was remade in the film that no one's seen called Always by Steven Spielberg. We did a Simple Plan, like I said at the top of the show, for Bill Paxton's passing, the Sam Raimi movie. Critically underrated. No one's seen it, which is sad. Wings, silent film, first Best Picture winner. Lots and lots of things, like 80 movies. Varies from like superhero stuff to shitty stuff to weird comedies, road movies, basically really anything. And we're trying to do more and more and more and more of that. Musicals even, if you're into Dancer in the Dark. Pretty interesting. But yeah, you can find us all over the internet, like I said at the top of the show. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WordPress, Tumblr, at Dollar Reviews. That's where it is. Google Play Music, iTunes Podcast, Stitcher, TuneIn, YouTube, SoundCloud, and Podcat. Where can they find you, Steve?
S_MTX on Twitter, and same deal on Letterboxd. And you can email me at steve@dollarreviews.net.
We would love some emails. Please do it. Like I said at the top of the show, Brian Gillis, and it's also the same at Letterboxd. Have a good week, guys.
Take care.